All right. What's going on, everybody? Oh, wait. I gotta fix something. Well, maybe I don't. Let's leave it here for a second, and then I'll fix the lighting in a sec. Welcome to another session of Tyranny of Dragons here on Forgebreaker. Tonight, we are going to wrap up our run through the Tomb of Daedarius and hopefully get resolution with our hunt for Varram the White, which is the individual we've been hunting lately. We'll do that, try to push through it, and hopefully get, like I said, get a good resolution on that. Hopefully get what we needed from him and then make our way out of this tomb as quickly as possible. Go over our weekly schedule here. So Wednesday, which is tomorrow, is Amongst the Giants. Fate returns on Thursday, continuing his playthrough of Rise of the Tomb Raider. D&D replay is on Friday. Alliance is on Saturday, which is going to be pretty fun. Plane shifting is going to be a thing, so that'll be fun. Entropy is on Sunday, which is our Tomb of Annihilation playthrough, if you're not familiar with that. Then Monday, instead of Tuesday of next week, we'll be back for Tyranny of Dragons. We had some scheduling issues. We needed to make sure they were resolved, so we moved the session back to its original Monday game, just for 1 week though. So we'll be returning back to Tuesday after that. And then Empire is next week on Wednesday. So lots of exciting stuff, everything coming up. I believe everybody here is pretty much ready. So you guys good over here?
I believe so.
Yeah. All right. Let's do that thing.
All right. Lower the volume a little bit on the music. It's a little aggressive. All right. So, last session, some stuff happened. So after investigating the room where you were ambushed by the spectral beings, finding some interesting magical items and text, you moved back through the tomb trying to figure out what you had missed, since you couldn't exactly find where it seemed Varram had run off to. You decided to check the room with the large sarcophagus within it. As you entered, nothing seemed to have changed since you were last here, though you did get that same warning that nothing should be touched and everything should be left as it is. However, as you approached the large stone coffin, you heard a voice emanating from it. It claimed to be Daedarius in repose, and said that it knew what it was that you were seeking. It asked for an exchange, though. It wanted one of you to stay behind to discuss their past and their history. After a brief conversation, you discovered he was talking about Maximilian. Max, having sought answers to his clouded past for quite some time, readily accepted the offer after checking with the rest of the group. As the deal was struck, Daedarius told you that Varram had been taken by Yuan-Ti through an northern passage from this chamber, and warned you to be ready. As he did so, Maximilian's form began fading from this plane of existence, eventually vanishing from sight completely. At the same time, a large opening raised to the ceiling in the northern wall of the room, revealing several very surprised lizard folk. You quickly dispatched these guards and continued on to this new passage. You found down it, to the east, a large bridge hanging over inky blackness. As you began to cross this bridge, you saw a somewhat large force of enemies standing on the other side of it, clearly intending to not let you cross it without a fight. You, of course, obliged them, picking them off one by one until a large spell of confusion was put upon the enemies by Terra. Most of them couldn't figure out who to attack or what to attack, and you even saw one of them walk off the edge of the bridge under this confusion, falling to his death fairly dramatically. After all this, you cleaned up the rest of them, and after discovering that the bridge was very slick with moss and somewhat difficult to travel, you moved carefully across it with the help of some platforms and continued on. You came upon a weirdly undulating hallway that led off in various directions to different passages. As Ignalia ventured down one of these passageways, she found herself compelled to move down into this pit with writhing forms of snakes, along with several Yuan-ti present in it, thinking that she was going to receive a meal for some reason. The Yuan-ti, of course, attacked her. Battle commenced, and though Stone Skull was briefly taken out of the fight by more magical suggestions, you quickly took care of this group, chasing the last Yuan-ti's caster into a very smelly and disgusting looking room with trash and garbage piled all around it. You surmised that resting would probably be a good thing. You all felt kind of tired at that point, so you decided to try and barricade and guard this room as best you could. After a few minutes of rest, though, you were interrupted as you all heard voices, obviously setting up an assault through the two passages into the room that you were in. You quickly prepared and found yourself under a massive assault by lizard folk and Yuan-ti creatures. Your preparations were very effective, and even though you were becoming more tired by the second, you were able to slay all of the creatures of the assaulting force. One creature even attempted to escape to the east, but Rogar and Stone Skull were able to chase him down and slay him before he reached the next room that he seemed to be heading towards. As you all stood in the aftermath of this battle, breathing heavily from this extended set of exchanges, you all heard a voice calling from the room to the east. "Come, whoever is down there, come to us. I have your dwarf." What do y'all want to do?
I want to find where I am on the map.
Yeah, that.
Okay.
Hey,
Yeah, so you heard this voice coming from down in this really direction.
wait, hold on, let me zoom out and then do that again. Sorry. There you go.
Down there.
Okay, I saw it that time. My icons were in the way. I'm going to get rid of those.
I'm going to send a message over to Rogar and ask him to check around the corner stealthily.
Alright, I will move forward and peek around the corner stealthily.
Okay, give me a stealth check. Okay. All right, go ahead and peek around the corner.
I don't want it. No, I don't want it.
That's what you see.
Is it bad? You can reply to this message.
It's not good. There's another one of those big things, and a lot more snake people.
So we're feeding him to the others. Got it. Okay.
Well, after we get our answers.
Well,
if
split-second
we go
decision.
Blazing. The dwarf will probably die.
We will probably die.
At this point, yes. Steve, go in there and talk to him.
How about Ignalia talks to them?
Alright. I will walk around the corner and present myself as, I don't know, confidently as I can.
Tara's going to move up so she can hear.
All right. So, Steve, as you stepped around the corner, you saw all of their eyes focusing on you, clearly seeing you as you were like, "Oh," and ducked back around the corner very quickly. As you all begin to discuss and such, sending Ignalia forward, she comes around the corner and sees this room just brimming with Yuan-ti. You see one of the large abominations standing up front, holding out its great scimitar before it in a defensive posture. You see several other ones sitting around, all of them flanking this somewhat ornately decorated Yuan-ti standing in the middle. And as you all take in the scene, you see that the one standing up next to this pedestal is holding a dwarf in her hand, adorned in this purple armor. The dwarf appears to be unconscious as she just holds him by the scruff of his neck, a dagger pressed against his neck as well. Ignali, as you start to move forward, once again the voice you now see it's coming from the woman holding the dwarf says, "Come forward. I think we have something to discuss."
Don't go forward. You can do it from there.
But do we though?
I'll go forward just a little bit. No, I would just say, that does appear to be who we are seeking, but what is he to you?
With that, you see this kind of serpentine woman tilts her head to the side. And she says, "He is our prisoner as of now, but maybe a deal could be arranged to pass him to your possession."
I'm open to deals, but what do you like to barter in?
In lives, of course. I want you to leave. I want you to kill no more of my kind and leave this place. Only then, and she kind of raises the dwarf up a bit and shakes him. You see his body just flopping around almost lifelessly, though you do see his mouth kind of part in a gasp of pain, clearly indicating that he's still alive, albeit barely. He says, "Only then will he be released from my spell. I have transported his soul to another plane."
Not to them, to the party. Do we have any idea why these guys are here right now?
I'm gonna whisper, I think they live here. I'm pretty sure we're in their home.
Sounds about right.
Okay, we haven't come across them, like, resurrecting an elder evil or something, right?
And not that I've seen.
So, okay. Then I'll reply, we have no quarrel with any of your kind. We only came seeking him out, so that would be a fair exchange, I believe, and I'm just going to look around for any disagreement.
I'm gonna shake my head no,
Yeah. Oh.
even though I didn't see you.
It's just like, sounds good.
You played yourself, Soren.
See, she's not blind. I knew it.
All right. So
Blind sense is OP.
As you say that, you see her tilting her head, and she slowly nods. She says, "Very well. I will turn over the dwarf to you, but if you are to go back on our bargain and kill any more of my kind, his soul will never return."
I didn't want to kill any of y'all anyway. Y'all attacked me.
Her voice echoes through the hallway.
Ignored completely.
Are there any more of his kind with him, the cultists?
With that, you see her start to walk forward, carrying this dwarf with her, moving up and handing him off to this very large creature. And then she starts stepping backward again, looking all at you as this creature holds the dwarf next to it, and slowly starts to walk your direction. She says, "No, they have all been killed. He was the last. They dared to come into our home unprepared, unlike you."
It's certainly an interesting place for a home, buried next to a large tomb.
With that, she kind of shrugs and raises one hand in the air. She says, "It has its purpose here, and we do not want to be bothered."
Are you aware of the cult's activities? Does the advent of the dragons have anything to do with you?
With that, you see her kind of raising an eyebrow. She says, "Dragons? No. I have no interest in dragons or this cult you speak of. This dwarf and his creatures were simply intruders." And as she says that, the large creature steps forward, eyeing Ignalia as he brings this dwarf around and, not gently sets him down in front of you. and then begins to start moving back away. The scimitar is still gripped in its grasp in a defensive gesture.
When will his soul return?
With that, with this creature returning back to where it was standing, obviously guarding in front of everything, she says, "Only when you have exited the Enclave will his soul return to his body. I'll know when you are gone."
I hope that it does, or we might have to return.
Steve, can you tie him up? We'll have Mr. Pebbles carry him out.
I'm gonna go ahead and make sure he's gagged and stuff too. No spell casting.
Okay.
Yeah. Sleight hand for time up with the rope I have.
Okay. Give me a sleight hand check.
Can mine be assisting? Never mind.
Okay. You gonna have him gag him as well, or are you gonna do that yourself, Ignalia?
I was gonna more have him do it because I know he's better, but like I'm just telling him kind of what to do because I have the knowledge.
Okay. Give me one more sleight of hand check with advantage, Steve. Okay.
Yeah.
So as Rogar steps forward, this dwarf's almost lifeless-looking body, not moving and such, even as it's kind of slammed on the ground. Laying before him, he grabs some rope out of his bag and begins binding his arms and legs very quickly, going through and expertly tying 2 knots to almost hog tie him together. And then with Ignalia pulling out some cloth, Steve also pulls that up and ties it around, opening this dwarf's mouth to sink the cloth inside of it, and then quickly tying a double knot on the backside of it. Fairly certain that these lines will be very difficult to break. And as Steve finishes, the woman once again speaks out. She says, "You have done and received what was promised. Now, leave here."
Mr. Pebbles is going to pick up the dwarf by the ropes, kind of carrying him like a sack of groceries in one hand. And we're going to start heading out.
As they start heading out, Stone Skull's gonna kind of whisper over to Ignalia and say, "Is there something specific we are here for, besides just the dwarf?"
Is that true? I don't think we were here for anything else.
No, we're here for the dwarf.
I thought we were here for the dragon mask. Or the worm speaker's mask thing.
He's looking for it himself.
Well, that's why he came here, though.
He came here because there was divination magic that could have helped him locate the mask.
Oh.
And it seems he may have already used that pull.
Okay, but that's good information to remember. So as we're leaving, I just want to call out to the woman and, ask her, have you seen any mask depicting of a dragon? This one, I'm going to point towards Varram, was looking for it, probably using divination.
With that, she squints her eyes and slowly shakes her head. "No, we found nothing of that sort on him. He did say that he had massive amounts of gold that he promised us if we would stop torturing him, but he never produced anything as such."
Well, very well then. And we'll start to leave.
Okay. So what's your plan? Make your way
If you
back?
want to give me control of the dwarf, I'll carry him along with us.
Well, I'll just, do y'all plan on stopping anywhere? Do you plan on investigating
No,
anything?
we plan on leaving. We're not even long resting.
Just getting the hell out?
Yeah.
GTFO.
GTFO?
I don't know. Is there any... I know there's one door right next to us we didn't touch.
Didn't touch a door there. There was a passage down some stairs after the bridge that you didn't go into.
We promised to leave without harming any more of his clan. We need to go out the way we came in.
We didn't say we wouldn't take anything now.
Take whatever you want
Sure.
along the way, as long as none of them see you and we have to kill them.
It's true.
No, I'm all for just leaving, but that's up to everyone else.
I think that would be disrespecting the man who currently occupies Max's time.
Yeah, we can just go.
We should leave. We'll check in on Max.
I mean, realistically, I'm not in any condition to do anything. I want to leave and then re-prepare.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody wanting to do anything different?
No.
Okay. Alrighty. Give me 1 second. See that. Okay. All right. So as you start making your way back through here, you make your way down the tunnels you've gone through. You come back to this undulating, kind of waving tunnel, almost like a serpent is flowing against the walls. Making your way through it and back across the bridge, taking your time to be very careful. You find yourself back in the large chamber with the sarcophagus. Damn it. Reloaded the map on accident. Where the hell? Oh, you just took the hell off, Ignalia.
I won the race.
Bloop.
Oh, stop moving. I was going to track you all at once.
Taking too long.
I'm sorry.
Do it myself.
There.
Whatever.
Okay, so you find yourself in this room again, and as you exit it, you were able to see what appeared to be a lever in the room beyond it, where you just slayed the lizard folk. And I imagine one of you probably looked at it, saw that it obviously lowered this passageway again, so you quickly flicked it, and then ran under the slowly dropping doorway that came from the ceiling before it rose up to the ceiling. Now it's coming down, making your way into the room as it shuts behind you.
Gentleman Joe, thank you for the host, as always, sir.
There you go.
It did not drag me along. I'm like, oh, there we are.
Yeah. As you all start looking around this room, you hear no voice or anything of the sort.
Nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
What? Are you gonna knock?
What if I leave through the south door and then walk back in?
Still nothing.
Tiberius?
We only had 2 places we were going to go, right? Max knows where to find us.
But does he, though?
I mean, we don't even know where he is. Or if he can...
I
Listen,
assume
he
he's
got
on
absorbed
another
by a-
plane right now.
I don't know. Steve, go poke the sarcophagus. It seems like a good idea.
Nope, no, it doesn't. I'm done listening to Ignalia.
I've never steered you wrong.
Possibly.
Okay.
Someone write Max a note.
I don't have the spell good for that, unfortunately.
What do I have in my inventory? Hold on.
Do we not have paper?
I'm looking. Hold on. Although I'll be surprised if I have paper in my inventory.
Wait a second. What's your intelligence?
Yep. It was going to be good enough that I was going to draw a map in crayon and show him where it was going to go. Or where we were going to go.
Is that still the rule? You need int 7 to know how to read or write?
I don't remember.
I know that's what it was in 3.5. I don't know if that carried over to 5.
I
think
if
so.
You're, like, semi-intelligent as long as you're above like 4. So he'd have a rough time trying to write a novel, but he could probably make out a short note that mostly conveys the meaning with some grammatical errors.
Sticking out his tongue as he does so, thinking very hard about it.
Well, as a blind girl, I do not have paper or a writing.
I've definitely got some, so I'll just dig out a bit and write a simple set of instructions on what occurred and where we're heading to next.
Okay. Let him know you found Varram and we're told to leave, so you decide to go ahead and leave the tomb, and I guess you order where you're head back to Everwood or
tell him to watch out for the snakes.
Where we left from Waterdeep, right?
Yeah, Waterdeep is what I meant.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to deliver this prisoner back to Waterdeep.
Mm-hmm.
He's not responsive or anything yet, right?
Nope.
He will be when we leave this place.
No, he won't. Not if
Oh,
I
that's
give
right,
him
yeah.
not if I give him a forehead to the back of his head. Or I give him
he
a forehead.
still will be at
Forearm?
for the second stone skull.
Yes.
Did you just threaten to headbutt the back of his head when he's
Yes.
unconscious?
Kind of. Forearm. I'm gonna give him a forearm to the back of his head.
I'm gonna ask Mr. Pebbles to carry Varram away from Stone Skull.
Mr. Pebbles doesn't listen to you.
I'm asking you to ask Mr. Pebbles.
Mr. Pebbles is going to, he'll move away.
Okay.
Tara seems pretty concerned about this, too.
Alright, so y'all just leaving a note and then getting out of here?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Alright, so Ignalia writes out a brief note, kind of detailing what you went through, ultimately found Varram and take off, as you seem to maybe have been lied to by Diderius, or at least the spirit of him, as he said that he would return Maximilian to you once you were found what you seek, but maybe there was something else he meant by those words, you're not sure. So you leave this note behind, and you start heading out of the tomb, making your way back to the various rooms that you've been to. Heading out the front door, climbing down the ladder, and then heading off back through the Serpent Hills. As you exit out of the tomb of Diderius, you find that it is somewhat late in the day at this point, early evening. You know that you probably have 2 or 3 hours worth of daylight left before you. As you begin to move out, not immediately as you get out of the tomb, but about 15 minutes or so after you begin walking away from it, you see Varram and hear him as he kind of struggles against his bonds a bit. His eyes not opening, but he groans in pain. And as you look at him a little bit more closely now, after moving out of immediate danger of the tomb, you see that he is covered in welts and bruises and cuts and such. He is pretty beat up right now.
Guys.
Tara is going to instruct Mr. Pebbles to just, because he's kind of carrying him just by the ropes, swinging him around. Doesn't really care about those welts or bruises. Tara's going to instruct him to kind of hold him up in the air about his head level so that we can all look up at him and talk to him.
Okay.
Guys, do you think we should maybe take his robe off? Because that's going to give away his rank within the cult, and we don't want to draw attention. Can I roll a intelligence check to make sure I'm smart enough to recognize this?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Hey!
You have a general idea that he's wearing. You have a multitude of reasons for this, because you start thinking about it and you're like, if he does wake up and attack us, that armor's just going to help him. Might as well take it off. Then you kind of look at it and be like, yeah, if he has any friends or anything around here, he, would obviously be recognized. So might as well take it off him. He doesn't need it right now.
That would mean we have to untie him. Are you just looking for an excuse to knock him unconscious again?
Oh, don't worry. I can hold him where he is. I'm not too worried about that.
Okay, well, let's talk to him first. We are outside now, right?
Yeah, you're outside. You've walked, close to a mile or so away from the tomb.
Tara's just going to kind of lean her head back. Doesn't know where he is, so she's just going to... So are you going to tell us where the mask is?
Tara, unfortunately, is not able to see it, but the rest of you see that he is still very much unconscious and hurt. He seems to just be kind of groaning in pain in his own sleep.
He's not being cooperative. You better hit him, Tara.
Tara has Mr. Pebbles start shaking him.
Give Mr. Pebbles a strength check, please.
Oh no. No, he doesn't want to break him.
Oh no, he broke
I
him.
mean, it's not a 30.
So yeah, as you instruct Mr. Pebbles to kind of shake him, you see Mr. Pebbles kind of bearing down with his arms a little bit, and Varram groans in pain again, just as he's rocked back and forth by Mr. Pebbles. Kind of his head still flopping around and such, very much, super hurt and unconscious.
What's going to tell the blind girl to stop?
No, I'll wait like 10 seconds and I'll say that's enough.
Tara has Mr. Pebbles stop. What do you mean that's enough? He's not talking.
I don't think he can talk. He needs a little bit of time to come back.
Sounds like he's back.
Well, unless any of you have a way to bring him back, I'm spent, so we need to have a rest before I can do anything.
Yeah, let's find a safe place to set up camp.
Okay, so what you all want to do, travel a little bit and then find a place to set up, or you want to set up right here?
Wait, are we just outside, or are we a good way out?
You've traveled a good mile or so away.
Yeah, as long as we're beyond the reaches of, like, where all the initial carnage was.
Yeah, you're a decent distance away now. Still in the kind of barren rolling hills and such, but definitely away from the tomb.
What time of day is it?
It's still, early evening. Not much time has passed. Like I said, it only took you about 15-20 minutes to get here at a decent trot, getting away from the tomb and such. So you still have an hour, 2 hours or so of daylight left.
I would vote just making early camp.
Agreed.
Yep, I'm in.
So,
Okay. Everybody give me perception checks. Except for, everybody.
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 Perception.
Okay. Tara and Stone Skull. Tara, you're able to feel off to the southwest of you, about 60 or so feet away from you. And Stone Skull, you're able to see it. It's not quite a cave, but you see where a rocky outcropping rises up over it, providing a little bit of shade in this evening sun above you. Seems like a decent place for you to hold up for the night, if necessary.
Okay. I'll start to lead everybody over towards the that area and begin kind of scouting around as everybody gets settled in for the evening.
Okay. So as you all sit down, beginning a rest, pretty weary from going through that tomb and such, and fighting all of those creatures in a row, essentially. And even though you didn't fully explore all of the passageways set before you, you feel that you got the gist of things, and ultimately you completed your mission, as you now have an unconscious Varram with you. As you all settle down, the evening starts to grow darker as well as colder, And you see, even after a couple hours pass, as you're all beginning to rest, you see Varram still lays groaning occasionally in pain and very much unconscious. But you all feel that your experiences thus far, you've proved yourselves. You've survived battles that would have killed normal people. You've learned a decent amount of information, though not exactly the information you sought out originally. And you are without one of your members, with Maximilian still being gone, but you have a vague sense that more than likely there's a reason for it. But you all feel more powerful, and you will ding up to level 9.
Yay!
Hot damn.
Level 9.
Hey, we called it.
We did.
It's a real curveball I'm throwing at you right now.
Seriously, because I was not ready.
I was gonna say, this is the middle of the session. This is the beginning of the session. What are you doing? You're a madman.
Really.
What are you doing to us?
I'm burning time.
Oh.
I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe digging up to 9.
So let's see. I can either take ability score or take ability score. Okay.
Well,
That's cool. I guess I'm taking ability score.
Okay, well, didn't see that coming. Literally throwing me for a loop right now.
And so not prepared for this. Hold on.
Wait,
Good.
why is that?
Because my fighter level 6 and my barbarian level 4 are both ability score.
It's real tough.
Yeah. Tough choices here.
I get a 5th level spell.
That's dope.
Okay, I'm gonna take fighter level 6. I'm gonna do that because I want warding maneuver immediately. So, ability score. Make sure I'm doing this right because I know I want to maximize things.
I get my 4th level spell. Hooray.
Hooray!
I was so not ready for this. You should have warned us. Yup. Okay. Because that's not terrifying at all, is it?
Is
Having
it?
Why is that terrifying?
having
I
a
understand.
20 in strength.
No, that's terrifying.
Yeah. Hmm? Okay. And that's not bad.
Okay.
Could be
If
worse.
you're rolling for HP, go ahead and do that now.
Yeah.
Otherwise, just let me know you're taking the average if you're doing otherwise.
So I'm in the triple digits in HP, boys.
Beefy.
So would you go with fighter or barbarian?
I took 6 in fighter because I want 7 fighter for warding maneuver because I'm cavalier. I want to get that immediately because then I can protect people with it. Basically, I can roll a 1d8 and add that to somebody's armor class. Super powerful.
That's dope.
Yeah. All the HP, though. One 5. Kind of terrifying, to be honest. Kind of terrifying. Cool. So. Yeah. Let's reset long rest. Now let's reset that. There we go. The whole fighter barbarian thing is kind of hard for me because I want to be able to do more with it. But
Oh man.
Ouch.
Oof.
But that's literally my job, is run in and bash things with a sword as
Woof.
much as I can. So, guess I'll do that then. Path of the Totem Warrior.
For some reason, it's not letting me edit my spell slot.
Should be.
Yeah, I can update the slots remaining, but not the actual slot number.
Okay. So...
Really tempted to take Dimension Door.
That's fun.
Wait, Zorn already has Dimension Door. Never mind.
Yeah, I do.
Does anything increase if I go here? So for anybody who has not been really paying attention here, we are taking a couple minutes to reset our characters because we just got a level up. So we're doing all of that level up fun stuff now. Really wish... I wish Rage went up sooner. Like, I wish I had extra damage from it. Oh no, that doesn't increase, does it? Skill value. But I still only have 3. I wish I had a fourth use of it. That would be super nice.
Alright,
but
I know
we're
what I'm
not there
taking.
yet. Not there yet. Soon.
I know what I'm taking as well.
Can we combo yet?
Also, when we left the cave, I'm assuming we got back on the horse and wagon, correct?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, totally.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I sure hope so, because lots of wasted gold there, if not.
I mean, you wouldn't go anywhere without your trusty mount, right?
If Havoc would give me dungeons that were outside, I'd be on my horse all the time.
Havoc, do you know why I can't do it?
I don't know. Let me check. Let's see your character sheet, Terra. What are you trying to edit?
My number of spell slots?
That's set by your class. Sorcerer 9.
Oh, did it already update?
Oh,
Well,
cool.
One
I get
for,
an extra
physical
warding
spell.
maneuver.
I didn't know all I had
That's
to do was
cool.
change my
Or
level now.
unwavering
Alright.
mark.
It does everything for you.
So I get 5 of those instead of
Is
Is there
4.
a quick button to make him fill all back up? Is there a long rest button?
I don't think so on this
Mm.
character sheet.
On Roll20, no.
Yeah, you'll just have to type in the numbers again.
Hmm.
You all
that's-
get the benefits of a long rest, by the way. You're leveling up as you're long resting.
Well, I do not have 40 level 1 spell slots.
Oh, you should though,
Uh,
because that would be super cool.
Havoc, I'm going to be changing out a spell. And Scott, no, I don't have Dimension Door.
Thought you. Oh, maybe that was Willie. I don't know.
No, I have it.
All
I
right.
don't have it anymore.
Oh, I see.
So I could have done 2
Well, I'm still
points to
taking Wall of
strength,
Fire, so.
or 2 points
while
into
y'all are
con.
finishing level up, I'm gonna go to the bathroom.
Had I
I'll be
done either one, so strength just makes it so like I got a +10 to attack right now, which is pretty freaking scary good. And then I get higher damage off of that too, which helps, but I don't know. I feel like the additional 1 to armor class would have been really strong too. So had I put the 2 points into con, that would have bumped me up to 20 con as well. That would have given me more HP as well, and it would have given me an 18 armor class instead of 17. Either way, I feel like it's a good deal, but yeah. I don't know. I think I'll stick with the strength because I'm kind of frontline. I can take a beating. I have a ton of HP right now, so I'm not too worried about that. I think I'm gonna stick with it. Because let's be honest, +10 to attack on a great sword attack that's averaging like 12 to 15 damage per attack, that's pretty beefy. +2 for when I'm raging, which is even better. I think that's what I'll do.
Alright.
So we'll see.
So how's everybody doing? You about all leveled up?
So
I'm
this
done.
is my
I'm
current
almost done.
character sheet. So as you see, I got music is in and out here. So yeah, I have 3 uses of rage here, and then 5 for
I have this itch
unwavering
on the
mark.
back of my
because
head
that's
that
my
tells me we're
strength.
going to get back to the council and someone's going to be like, why didn't you murder all the snakes?
Had I, like I mentioned, had I went for a 20 and
Give you a present.
Con? What's that?
Check your journal area.
Okay. Had I went with a 20 in con, that would have boosted my AC to 18. It would also given me more HP, but I feel pretty secure with what I have with HP right now. So, but we'll see. We'll see. What am I missing?
Should see it. Here, let me.
Oh, under creatures?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I see it.
Okay.
Sweet. All right. So yeah, I think we're good to go. I'm ready when you guys are ready.
Almost.
But what about Steve?
Yeah, I'm good.
My level up was literally the easiest thing I could have gotten.
Spend 2 points.
But here's the thing. So, and this is what I was just talking about in with the stream as well, is I had two options. I could have went 2 points in strength, which is what I went with. Now I have a plus 10 to attack. Or I could have went 2 points into con and bumped up my AC to an 18.
Yeah, but you already have more damage reduction than God, so what point is that?
Exactly, and that's kind of what I was leaning towards. Like, yes, I'm going to do that eventually. I'm going to bump it up to a 20, but, you know, right now having that extra, that 10 to attack plus the extra damage is super good.
Havoc.
Mm-hmm.
Ruling on far step. See to an unoccupied space you can see. Can that be that I can fill? If I can't fill it, I can't see it.
To you feel, so you can't like teleport up into the air, and it has to be within your blind sense range.
Right. But if it's like wood or
+6.
something, I'm not doing it there either. Just for roleplay.
Right. Yeah, it has to be Earth.
So it could be
Same
a total
rules
of
as your sight. And
average
Awesome.
or a maximum 18
Alright, then I am ready
damage
to go.
per slash.
I am just going to be quietly updating D&D Beyond.
Okay.
Everybody acknowledge you good?
Yep.
Alrighty. So, as you all begin to rest for the night, once again, Varram, seeing like he's pretty out of it, definitely needs some rest or some healing or something. You all kind of lay down, you know, resting as best you can, keeping up watches and everything, but all of your eyes are very heavy even during your watch. It's a tough night to get through, but you feel surprisingly refreshed as you wake up the next morning. Still finding yourself in the... what was the name of this place? The Serpent Hills, right? Yeah,
Yes.
the Serpent Hills. Knowing that you got a little bit of travel ahead of you, you're able to see off to the southwest now as you're making your way, begin traveling down to the southwest. You see off to your northwest, what you know to be the High Moor, which is this... Actually, let me not lie to you, because I don't actually know what this place is. You see this very open expanse of, you know, a mixture of swamplands and grasslands and such, and you know this is the High Moor. You know that this is a very large expanse that's pretty much uninhabited except by large and dangerous creatures. You know, it's creature infested or monster infested, butting up itself up against the Serpent Hills. You know, there was a reason that Varram and his troop took the direction they did, going all the way past this before venturing up towards the Serpent Hills instead of cutting through the moor. It's kind of dangerous to do so. But you all have the option. If you wanted to go out through the High Moor, you're welcome to do so. Otherwise, you can continue on the path that you came from, going down the kind of barren wasteland the last year southwest, heading back down towards the Winding Water River.
Well, what's the time difference?
You'd probably cut a day off or so.
Nah, I would say stick to the tried and true then.
Okay. Any thoughts from anybody else?
Yeah, I'm good with that. Stick to what we know.
Okay. All right. So as you begin setting off the next day, moving through with the early morning light, starting to travel down to your southwest, following this the stream off to your west or your south rather, to kind of keep your bearings and such. You kind of keep it within eyesight. pretty easy to do, saying you can keep sight of it within a mile or so due to how just barren this land is. You continue on. About 4 hours pass or so, and you see that Varram, you keeping him on the wagon. Is Mr. Pebbles carrying him? What's going on with him?
Oh, we've put him on the wagon. Mr. Pebbles is following up the wagon, though. Keep in mind.
Okay.
His instructions were to not let him go anywhere.
You continue on, and you're all just kind of, like I said, keeping an eye out and such as you look around, and you all are able to audibly hear groaning coming from within the wagon, as it seems like Varram is beginning to awaken.
How much longer in our journey do we have to get back to Waterdeep?
A little over a week or so, at least.
Okay, yeah, so it's worth us questioning him now.
We should keep moving now. We'll question him when we set up.
Well, I mean, we've got a wagon and a giant stone golem. We can do both, I'm pretty sure.
Alright.
Alright, so what do y'all do?
Me and someone else will stay in the wagon with him. We'll, when he comes to, ungag him so he can speak, but definitely keep everything else bound. Because he can't really do much. I think he can only counterspell with just words, so...
Driving the wagon and just kind of watching the road closely ahead.
And you continue on. Okay. Who's gonna...
Tara is riding on the back of... Or riding on not Stone Skull. On Mr. Pebbles' shoulders at the back of the wagon. So she's in hearing distance of everything, but obviously she can't see what you're doing.
Okay. Rogar, are you going to be outside? Are you going to be inside the wagon? What are you doing?
I'll be with Ignalia.
Okay. All right. So as Ignalia and Rogar, you all hearing the voice of Varram, decide to go ahead and move up into the back of the wagon, climbing in. You see the dwarf is kind of moved over to the side. He's kind of moved himself up against the lip of the wagon there, the inner wall of it, and he's leaning against it. You see his eyes are still very pained, but they are open now. And as the flaps at the back of the wagon are moved apart, letting in the sun, he squints against it, kind of lowering his head to block out most of the sunlight. And as you close the flap, moving into the wagon, sitting down next to him, you see he's very much still hog-tied, his hands and feet out in front of him, his mouth bound, only letting out grunts. And he looks up towards you all, or towards both of you, and
I kind of just look over at Rogar. I already don't think this is off to a good start.
Better than Stone Skull. Talk to him first.
I will reach up and undo his gag.
Okay. So as you do so, reaching behind his head and undoing the quick knots that Steve was able to put around his the gag, you undo it, pull it back away, and he seems to be kind of glaring at you as you do so. And leans back against the wagon after getting his mouth unbound, and he looks up. And says, well, who are you? Why am I here?
Well, you are under our care as of now, and you would be Varram, someone that we've been seeking for some, a couple weeks now. Now tell us, how did your search for what is it, a mask again?
As you say that, you see him squinting his eyes, and as he kind of looks at both of you suspiciously, he looks back down, and you see his wrists kind of turning, and you hear the rope kind of groaning against it, and you see that he's just held there. He does the same with his feet, and struggles for a brief moment, and then he lets out just kind of a heavy sigh. Well, gold dragonborn and a fiery redhead in plates. Yeah, I've heard about you. Yes, I was seeking out a dragon mask, the white one. What of it?
Did you find it?
With that, he squints and has a bit of a defeated look on his face as he lowers his head. He says, I did, though not in the way I wanted to.
Explain.
With that, he kind of motions, seems a bit uncomfortable in his binds and such, and tries to relax himself as best he can, and leans his head back, not really making eye contact with you, but with another resigned sigh. Well, I used that blasted pool to look for it, to divine its location, and I discovered whoever stole it no longer had it. The cult has it now, back at the Well of Dragons.
Have we heard Well of Dragons before?
Give me a history check.
I literally don't know if that's something I'm gleaning from my general knowledge or if we actually heard that.
You've heard of a place like this. You don't know a whole lot of information. It's more so... Yeah, you've both heard of this. You don't... Rogar knows a little bit more about it after doing some research, after knowing that the Cult of the Dragon was involved with his family's plight. You know that this is a place kind of in the Canyonlands near the Sunset Mountains. In your readings and such, you know that this was a legendary graveyard of dragons. And you know that this was a graveyard due to the fact that it's somewhat common knowledge that dragons would go to this place to die. When they reached the end of their life, they would be compelled to go to this one place, and that is where they would end their lives.
I just noticed I left a comment on the map from when I saw that ages ago.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you have your answer. You can take the question mark off.
And I'll even say, Steve, you know that the Cult of the Dragon actually operated here long ago because they would use the deceased dragon's bones to create Draco Liches.
Would I have any knowledge of this place being so close to it, where I'm from?
Give me a history check with advantage.
Well, I guess I needed that.
Yeah, you kind of know the same things that they do. You know the history of it and such. You know just a little bit more that, due to your proximity, that the Well of Dragons was rumored to reside either nearby or inside of a volcano.
Okay.
So why is it that the cult is operating at the Well of Dragons?
With that, Varram kind of tilts his head.
It's a well of dragons.
That is where we reside. It's our home base, where almost all of our forces reside.
Does that mean that's where you plan to conduct your ritual?
With that, he seems very hesitant, and he doesn't even speak out loud. He just makes a very curt nod in affirmation.
Insight check.
Okay. Even with the minimal, no talking or anything like that, he seemed almost fearful as you asked him that question. It was almost like he was hoping you wouldn't. But you do see that, he tested the bonds again very briefly, and he's very much resided to the fact that he is a prisoner and that you could do anything to him you wanted. So he's going to try to be as cooperative as possible. And you feel that he's going to be telling the truth.
Yes. Or dragons.
It seems to me that members of the cult work more for themselves than they do the benefit of the whole. you've been oddly cooperative. What's your deal? Why are you doing this?
With that, he sighs. He says, well, unfortunately for me, you are my best hope of surviving. There's no place for me with the cult any longer. Severin will have me killed if I was to return without the mask.
Someone remind me. Severin? Have we heard that before?
Lord Severin?
No, that was a Lord U Severn, and I think that was Strahd.
Yeah, you haven't heard this name before.
Nope.
Yeah.
I don't have it anywhere on my list.
Okay. Who is Severin? He must outrank you.
With that, he nods. He says, Severin is the leader of the cults. He is the red worm speaker, as I am the white, or as I was.
So there's a ranking to your colors, then?
With that, he kind of tilts his head. He says, not especially. Severin rose through the ranks many years ago, and he was the first to find one of the dragon masks, and with that, he took ownership over the cult's new direction.
Someone help me. What's the name of the half dragon that we killed back on the castle?
Hold on.
It was Resmian.
Resmir. Yep.
Thank you. Which mask? This is like partially a guess. Which mask did Resmir possess, and where did it go after her death?
With that, he kind of looks at you and, raising an eyebrow, almost looks like he's looking at you like you're not too smart. Says she had the black dragon mask, being the black worm speaker. What happened to her mask, I can only assume, not seeing it myself, but she talked of using her spells to have failsafes in place to have her mask be safe regardless. I can only assume that in the event of her death, it would have been transported to the Well of Dragons as well.
Well, that's not what I wanted to hear, but at least it lines up and confirms. Oh god, they're moving.
Whoops.
What are the what are the other worm speakers then, besides yourself, Severin, Resmir? Do we know about any other ones yet?
You haven't heard of any.
So yeah, I would assume there's 2 more, so there'd be 5 worm speakers for the 5 heads.
With that, he nods. He says, "Yeah, there's 2 others that do have their own masks. There is Nerovane of the Green. Please hold while I look up the other guy's name. No, that's not right. And he says the last is Galvan the Blue.
Are they all in attendance at the well, or are any of them still searching for their masks?
With that, he shakes his head. He says, honestly, I do not know. Us worm speakers, aside from Severin himself, worked apart from one another. We don't necessarily get along. What the other 2 may be doing, I know that Severin is more than likely still preparing at the well, but the other 2 could be anywhere with their own machinations going on.
Alright, so you can't confirm that either of the two already received their mask.
With that, he shakes his head. He says, "No, I cannot."
I'm insight checking the shit out of him, by the way.
Okay, roll another one. Once again, he seems to be very much in the level. Still a bit of fear at the edges of his eyes. Seems like he honestly doesn't know.
Well, I have to say, I don't think we're gonna have to use Rogar at all. He's being so cooperative.
With that, you see him, just a bit of a smirk appearing at his lips. He says, "As I told you, you're my best bet to survive."
Damn right. Now, maybe you can tell me about something else. What do you know about... And I'm trying to remember the name right now. Is it the Drakhorn?
Yeah, the Drakhorn.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you know about the Drakhorn?
With that, he kind of shrugs. He says, "Not much, just what was sent to us in missives. It's some kind of ancient artifact that, by blowing through it, sends out he seems to think for a moment, twisting his
warning.
face in concentration. Says
A
some
warning.
kind of magic to rally and summon dragons. We were to use it to summon more of them to our cause, and based on what I've felt here recently, it seems like it has been done."
So those dragons that I saw on the way here. Yeah?
Hmm?
I'll take that as a yes.
Kind of overhearing this, Stone Skull kind of speaks up but doesn't turn back and says, "Do you have any idea how many we're going to face?"
As Stone Skull asks this kind of through the opening back behind him into the wagon, you hear Varram look back towards him and he begins to laugh. He says, "How many? I don't know if numbers can count that high, my friend."
Tara, overhearing this, is just going to make a sarcastic remark. Sounds like you can't count that high.
Yeah,
Just
Tara
scowls.
beat me to it.
He just scowls in Tara's direction out the back of the wagon. He says,
And
"What
she
I
doesn't.
mean is almost all of our forces reside there. It is more well fortified than..." He kind of motions, kind of looking around, motioning with his eyes, "more than any that you could possibly hope to face by yourselves."
Well, if I remember correctly, the Well of Dragons is inside of a volcano. And I have ways with Earth. Maybe we can get a little bit of seismic activity going.
That's a bit of a good idea. I believe only red dragons really like fire.
With that,
I don't think the cult likes fire.
You see Varram just grin. He says, "Our magic would protect us from such foolish attempts to assault us."
Tara shrugs. Then maybe we'll just have to round up
Round up what?
all of our sorcerers.
With that, he kind of shrugs. He says, a measly party such as yours would never hope to get even close to the well. It would take armies, thousands of people to do so. There's no way you have those kind of resources."
I just choke back a laugh.
Says a man who was captured by snakes.
He once again,
Or
just
rather,
scowls.
dwarf.
Just scowling. Just pure humiliation crossing his face.
Well, anyone got any other juicy questions?
Nope, not me.
Nope.
No, I mean, he's been pretty cooperative. Aren't we supposed to be...
What's that, Zorn?
What else were we supposed to be doing? We're supposed to be finding him, finding the mask.
The
No, we're
Drakhorn.
The Drakhorn. And then when there's
Yeah.
something else?
No, is it right
No,
now?
Okay.
it's that and report back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Alright. Then, yeah, I don't have any other questions right now.
What about Modar? Do you know of any of his preparations? Where is he? Is he mainly at the well as well?
With that, Varram kind of scowls, looking at you, definitely getting the feeling that you've touched on another question he had hoped you hadn't asked. Underneath that, he says, he makes his preparations there with his army of wizards that he brought with him.
How many of the Freyans came with him?
That he kind of does his best with his arms, or wrist tied. He kind of opens his hands up. He says, I did not take time to count them, but they were a formidable number.
And so, his preparations, how far off are you?
With that, he kind of twists his head a bit and starts to shrug. He says, I do not know. I was not privy to the arcane knowledge between Modar and Severin of exactly what was entailed. They only arrived recently to begin their preparations. I'm not sure how long it'll take.
And one final question. What is the importance of the mask? Why do you need them? All of them?
That
That is a great question.
He shrugs and says they're important relics. They allow us to commune with dragons as well as influence them, albeit slightly. Some of the older and more powerful ones are unaffected by it, but those that are still very powerful and not quite as wise are easily swayed to our cause.
It sure seems like you need a lot of control over dragons that would normally be more than willing to bring back their goddess.
With that, he chuckles a bit. He says, you would be surprised by the greediness of dragons. Some do come over willingly, but not all. Others want things, want promises for themselves. We have to convince them that the cause of bringing back the goddess Tiamat is more than worthy in its own right.
Alright. Anyone else?
Nope, I'm good.
No, you touched on anything I could think of.
Very good. Did we search him yet?
We did strip him of his armor.
You did.
Which would have taken everything off his person anyway.
Yeah, you would get some stuff, I think, right? That makes sense.
Does to me.
Well, he was captured beforehand, actually. Yeah. As you kind of rummage through his belongings, you see that he was still wearing this kind of finely made studded leather. Definitely, made for a dwarf. So not super useful to the rest of the group. But yeah, as you look through the rest of his belongings, you don't find anything else of import. You don't even see any pouches of gold or anything of that nature on him. He didn't have a weapon even. As you drug him away from the Auntie, you kind of get the feeling that maybe he was stripped beforehand of any of his belongings.
Well, I guess we have to go back and murder those snakes, right?
I was kind of hoping you would say that.
Alright, Stones Gold, bring the card around.
As you're looking, as the two of, or as Ignalia is the only one that can see. As you're looking through the belongings of Varram, give me a perception check. And by the way, this is what Varram looks like. As you're looking through his belongings, you see Varram kind of sitting there eyeing you as you're doing so, and he looks a bit uncomfortable from you searching through his stuff.
What's the matter, Varram? Is there something in here that might interest us?
With that, he kind of sees you seeing him. He lowers his head quickly. He just kind of raises his arm or his shoulders up in a shrug.
Damn it.
He's not talking, which is a little bit odd to you.
Well, my insight's too bad for me to even justify thinking about it.
I can make him talk.
I have no reason to. He's been nothing but cooperative up till now.
Is it the same kind of avoidance he had for certain questions?
Kind of seems so.
That's
Rogar, do you know of any kind of hidden pockets that you might want to search for?
I can take a look.
Don't do it. You're better suited than me.
Okay, give me an investigation check, Rogar.
We've seen his investigation check.
They always go so well.
Oh, man.
You're able to go through this, like I said, studded leather armor, moving through it, moving the frills back and everything. You move through it and you feel like you've searched it fairly well, but you're unable to find anything.
No, doesn't look like there's anything hidden.
While he's doing that, though, can I just study Varram's face?
Sure. He looks like a dwarf.
Alright, well, I mean, more details, though. Is it a strong jaw? Like,
He's
how's the
ugly.
brow structure?
He's got a little bit of a bulleted nose at the end. Very fat. Looks like it's probably been broken a bunch of times. His hairline very much receding, though it seems to just be kind of sliding down to his face as he has a good 12-inch beard coming off and not yet gray with age. His features very pudgy looking and such, wrinkles and such from, you assume, from constantly scowling. Give me another insight check. As you're looking at him, very, studying him and such, you see him looking back towards his armor, and you kind of follow his eyes very quickly, and you see that he seems to be looking towards the pauldrons, where you see these golden horns or spikes coming out of it, kind of eyeing those spikes.
Hold on, I'm digging up his picture again. Rogar, would you pass me back that armor for a second?
Yeah.
And I'll use Detect Magic.
Yeah.
As you do so, you see down at the base of the spike on his left pauldron, it's a good 6 inches in diameter or so. You see radiating magic coming from, you think, inside of the spike.
What type is it?
Evocation.
What?
Oh wait, no, sorry, transmutation.
I was like, it's a bomb!
No, it's transmutation.
Well, I found something interesting here. What might this be? And I mean, I could literally spend an hour studying this to learn it if I need to.
Yeah, as you say that, you see Varram kind of moving, uncomfortably shifting in his bonds and such. He says, well, if promise not to hurt me for not telling you, if you break off that spike there's an orb within it.
And what does this orb do?
With that, he kind of sighs. Says, I am not a dragonborn or a half dragon. I do not have the ability to conjure a dragon's breath on my own, so an item was
Hey there,
fashioned
Stan. How's it
to
going?
allow me to do so. When I was clearly soon to be captured by the Yuan-Ti, I hid it there, quickly mending the broken spike and hid the orb there in hopes that I would be able to use it. But those Yuan-Ti, unfortunately, too smart for their own good and tortured me, and I blacked out before I ever had a chance.
Well, I appreciate your forthrightness, even if it was a bit late and forced. Listen, I think things will go a lot better for you if you just accept, which side of this conflict you're going to be on from now on.
With that, you see Varram's face kind of twist and, not quite agony, but, a defeated look definitely crossing his face, and he kind of lowers his eyes, staring at the bottom of the wagon, and he just simply nods a few times towards you.
And I will, unless he speaks up or someone else wants to ask something, I'm gonna spend an hour studying the orb.
Okay.
Just to make sure.
Or actually, if I can stay in the wagon, I'll spend the rest of that day identifying the orb, the ring, and the ewer, plus goblets that we found.
Okay. Alright, so as you start to, cracking the spike open, we'll start with the most recent item. You find this very small orb, and as you pick it up, it's actually almost icy cold to the touch. You kind of roll it in your hand, getting a feel for it, and you feel it, and you're able to feel the arcane energy as you study this for a good amount of time. And you discover that this orb is imbued with uses of the spell Dragon's Breath.
Ooh.
You feel like it's set up in such a way that you're able to use this 3 times per day to cast a Dragon's Breath of Cold.
Is the somatic or the material component for that still a hot pepper?
It is probably.
Makes no sense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, all right. So that's 3 uses a day, second level Dragon's Breath.
It's a little different, actually. Maybe. Let me see. Let me do some quick balancing.
Give me a name for it.
I'll do you better. I'll go ahead and do a handout for you.
Otherwise, it's going into my notes as sick-ass orb.
Tara is like a kid around Ignalia right now, just kind of moving things that she's trying to study. What's this?
You know how to work with these. Probably better than I do.
Maybe.
Handout?
You gotta type. Come on, man.
Oh, are you creating it? Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Just give me a second. Come on.
Shit, no, I thought you like had just had one.
Oh, I'm literally giving you an item off an NPC. Like, there was no handout for this.
Ask many questions, make the DM work hard. And yeah, like I literally have the spell Dragon's Breath. I don't need to cast it.
Could Stone Skull use it? Do you know how to activate it?
Oh god.
Could Stone Skull... Yeah. That would make me the only one without Dragon's Breath.
Yeah, but you can actually learn it if you really want to.
It would be fun for Stone Skull, because he's going to always be up in the mix anyways.
Is there an Earth Dragon Breath?
But, just so you remember, if you use it, you won't get any of your multi-attacks that round.
Is it a primary?
Should be. Should be an action to use any magic item.
Alright, and whoever has this will have to manually do the spell to do it, because it's not quite the Dragon's Breath that you all have. It's not actually a cone attack. It is a ranged spell attacking just one target. That being said, as Ignalia will be able to see, it is a little bit beefier in its damage.
Well, don't tease me now.
Look in your magic item list.
Yes, but how do you activate it?
Hey. It's not in my magic item
Ooh.
list.
My greedy side is showing its ugly head.
Does it
So,
require attunement?
Oh god, now it has a picture. Holy crap.
There you go. You're welcome.
Didn't know it would update as I was looking at it. It doesn't say attunement. Havoc, yes or no?
Roll me a D100. What you decide? You want high?
You want high. So anything above 50.
One
I'm
100.
just-
Don't ruin
Listen.
this for us.
I just want to know if this is like above or below midline. You could just tell me to roll a d2.
I know, but I like the 100 better.
52. That's in the upper 50%.
It's high. It's high.
It's high.
Does not require attunement.
Hot damn.
Hmm.
All right. And is it an action?
Yes, it is an action to cast.
Okay.
And what's the trigger?
Ooh.
So let's just go over it. No attunement. Recharges one use every dawn, up to 3 times a day, so 3 charges. Make 1 ranged magical attack, plus 7 to hit, 90-foot range, and it does 6d8 cold damage.
Oof.
Yeah, that nice.
Beefy.
So
6.
I'll pocket that
D8.
until we
My
figure out
God.
what we want to do with it.
I'm agreeing with Stone Skull. He needs to be able to shoot.
As long as you want it.
My biggest concern was, could he activate it?
Yeah, anybody using it can activate it. It's
Right.
pretty much an all-in-one spell thing.
Yeah. Magic items are not as much of a pain in the ass as they were in 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, the ring next.
Where'd you find the ring?
Somewhere in that tomb? I don't really remember.
Oh, it was the...
It was in the
amethyst
room. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you find you start studying this ring. Pull it up. Actually, I do have a handout for this. You see this amethyst set inside of it, and as you look at it closer, you decide that even though it has this kind of a purple light to it, you're able to tell that this ring allows the wearer of it though they do have to be attuned to it to use it. But it allows them to be resistant
Chat.
to
Okay.
poison damage.
So when we get to Waterdeep, remind
Wait,
me
say
when
that
we
again?
get there. I
You
need
have
to
to-
have my my
even
great
better.
sword silvered. Remind me. Don't let me forget. This is very, very important. I want to be
Sick.
able to hit
Okay.
undead
So,
in the
attunement,
future, ghosts in
gain
the future.
resistance to poison. And the ewer and goblets. I think maybe it was just the ewer that was magical.
You discover that it's actually all of the items are magical.
Oh damn.
Oh, damn.
Listen, you can't go making ewers and things that might carry beer magical. It excites him.
As you are looking at it, you see the ewer and the goblets are actually connected in their magical power. They can't work without one or the other being present. As you kind of in tune yourself with it, you discover that the ewer produces a gas that is like kind of this raw magical power. It has the
Thank you,
components
Terry.
and all of the arcane writ within this gas, but it's essentially, uncultivated. It's something that is in its raw form. But you know that with the aid of the goblets, if you were to pour this gas into it, it refines the magic and turns it into its true purpose. And its true purpose is to once again do things with poison. It allows you to receive advantage on saving throws against poison and resistance to poison damage for 3 hours. And you know that the goblets do have a limit on them. They can only produce the effect once per 7 days.
So once a week, 4 of us can get poison resistance.
And you have a
Alright.
handout for that as well.
I was waiting. Yep. I'm going to call this the drinking set of poison resistance.
Feel like these items are foreshadowing.
Yeah, I wonder if we're going to get 4 more sets, each tailored to different elements, huh? That would be weird.
That'd be crazy. Not gonna happen.
Why don't you like Zelda?
Hey,
All right,
that's-
so as you all
that's
go over
fit
your
sound,
magic
chat.
items and such, still traveling along the Serpent's Hills, heading down to the southwest, trying to get away from the High Moor. Before continuing on the tradeway, we're going to go ahead and take a quick 5-minute break, and then we'll see how y'all progress going forward. I'll be right back.
Okay, so 5-minute break. When we
Do
come
you have
back,
to say it so
we will make
sultry?
our way to Waterdeep.
You like it when I talk like this?
I'm gonna
God.
get my weapon
No, I
silvered. Chat does not like that either. Thank you.
Is chat saying something about this?
They will. Give it a second.
Is it Rin? Tell him to shut up.
It's Terry. They love it. All right, I'll be right back for real now.
All right, be right back, guys.
Yeah, I'll go grab drinks. I'm back.
Welcome back.
I have to say, though, I moved, and so now I live with a husky, and life is great.
Is it?
Yeah, I love that dog.
Huskies are pretty dope.
She's too pretty for her own good. Like, you know, they're kind of stubborn, so they need training. But she is a exceptionally good-looking Siberian Husky, and I think she understands that.
That is a weird. Do I have to look? I'm trying to discover things. 1 second.
Investigation check.
Yeah, let's see how well I do. No, that's it. Oh, it's. No. Guess I won't do that then. Alright, hold on. This is fine.
I don't think this is fine. Are you sure? This doesn't seem fine.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Everything's fine. It's fine.
Nope, I don't believe you.
I mean, I probably don't believe myself, but, it's fine. So how far are we from Waterdeep?
I mean, you got probably about 6 days after this first day of travel. You're a good ways away. I mean, y'all remember how far it took you to travel before. I'm shortening it just a little bit just because I don't want to do long travel times again.
So the current plan, guys, just so I'm on the same page as everybody here, is go to Waterdeep, drop the guy off, and then head towards the Draghorn?
We're looking for the Draghorn, right?
You were told of another place that you could go.
Island,
they had
right?
information on it.
What was it, like the ice flows or something?
Yeah.
They wanted you to go to the Sea of Moving Ice.
That's it. Yes, that's it.
I like ice flows better.
Sounds like.
Probably like way up here.
My mic wasn't working. I've been back for a while. Sorry.
Yay.
We're going to Icewind Dale.
Yeah, we had two objectives. One was to find this guy so that we could find the information on where his mask was so we could get a hold of his mask. The other objective was find information on the Draghorn up at that lady in that ice place.
Lady in the ice place. Got it.
I think our current objective right now, Stone Skull, is to get this guy back to our chain of command in Waterdeep, give them the information on the mask, and then see what they want to do. I say we hire a couple of expert thieves, maybe check the dungeons for some that are already locked up. Though we may not want to hire them because they've already been captured.
Something I didn't think about with my background. Is there any way I can use my soldier ranking to try to enroll some people to go and start doing some dungeon diving?
To like dungeon dive for y'all while you were away?
Oh my god, are we getting minions?
No, to go back behind the area. We're talking about going back behind where we were already at, right? Is that what you're talking about?
We're going to Waterdeep.
No, you mentioned about hiring people.
Oh yeah, maybe hiring some thieves to go to the Well of Dragons to steal the mask.
Oh,
so that
that's
might
different.
be suicide.
Yeah.
No, that's protected by plot armor.
Plot armor.
It doesn't mean we can't try.
Also, Havoc, since we're headed to Waterdeep, this is going to come up. Weapon silvering.
Oh, you don't have to worry.
No, I'm either going to have my weapon silvered and I need to know a duration of time, or I'm going to look for a silvered greatsword.
Yeah.
Or I'll drop off the Langradosa's greatsword and have them silver that.
I like the having 2 swords, 1 silver, 1 not.
Mhm.
Very Witcher-esque.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've got a generic +1 longsword that I'm having silver. Full
So.
Geralt right now.
Yep. So
Um,
I just wasn't sure, Havoc, how long of a duration, because from what I'm reading online, it's pretty much up to DM to decide how long that's going to take.
When we get to that point,
Okay.
I will have an answer for you, because I haven't really looked into it too much, because I knew it was going to take you a couple sessions to get back to
Yeah.
Waterdeep.
Yep, absolutely.
So it won't be terribly long, less than a week for sure.
So yeah, at that point, I might consider just dropping off Langradosa's sword and just having that silver, and yeah, having one on my back and one that I use. Okay, cool. So yeah, I think everybody's back, by the way.
I
I
have
love this.
2 ideas.
We left this dungeon and suddenly everyone is dual wielding things on their back.
When we get to town, I want to try and buy a giant silver.
A giant silver.
You're cutting out like a second too early.
I want to try and buy a giant silver ore when we get back to town. Like just a giant rock of ore and make a new mold.
Ooh, I see. Nice.
We could just melt down silver and do that too. Like silver pieces.
It wouldn't be as cool.
I'm gonna pay someone who actually smiths for a living to do mine.
Yeah, I need
Yeah.
to pay the blacksmith too for that's an extra large size silver brass knuckles.
So yeah, Havoc.
All
Floor is yours.
So, now that you are done discussing all of your plans that I get to think about. So you continue on the road. The path, really. Not really having any kind of semblance of a road currently where you are. But you know well enough from your trip up here. You're able to follow kind of this, game trails and such down to the southwest. As you move through, you move a good considerable amount, traveling pretty fast, especially with a carriage alongside there. You all kind of swapping in and out as you get tired to keep up this fast pace. So you're moving pretty quickly as you move down, kind of like you were doing before. But I think all of you probably intend to take rest this time instead of chasing. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so you make it fairly far. You feel like you're about halfway back towards the place you came from.
Waterdeep.
Nah, not Waterdeep, no.
Daggerford.
Not quite even there. Yeah, you went to a place.
Candlekeep.
Borskier Bridge, where you found the tent city there before,
right.
and also met Bellows Tent Side Inn. That's where you originally left from once you got down there to head off to the northeast into the Serpent Hills. You've made a considerable distance, but not quite there yet, even with your increased pace. And you find yourself night approaching and such. Do you want to stop to rest? Or do you want to keep going through the night? What do you want to do?
Go to the bridge.
I mean, you're gonna
Yeah,
keep
go
going
to the
through the
bridge.
night.
What's
You're not
that?
there yet. You've traveled. You feel about half the way to the bridge.
Oh, okay.
Do we think it'll take us the full night?
It'd be pretty close. You might get there like mid-morning.
Camp.
Yeah, we should camp.
Yeah, camp.
Okay. All right. So you set up your wagon and such, parking it there. Bringing I imagine you probably proffered a large water skin for the horse and such, just in case you got into situations like this where you weren't real close to bodies of water. You do have the river, but it would take you an hour or so to reach it and come back. So you feed and water the horse and such, and set up for camp for the night. I need We'll start with Forge. Give me a d20 roll, please.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
So you settle down for the night. Varram, not very talkative. He seems to have been completely resigned to his role as prisoner and is doing his best to stay out of sight and stay out of your minds as best he can. He doesn't, as you all keep a wary eye out towards him and such, he doesn't even move towards the edges of the wagon or anything like he was going to try to escape. He seems just completely set in with, he's going to stay with y'all because he's probably going to die otherwise. So you all set up for the night and rest, and the night goes by without issue, surprisingly. And you find yourself awaking the next morning and ready to set off again. Still heading towards Borskier Bridge. You gonna cut more left to try to cut some time off? What are you gonna do?
Well, whatever information he might have that, we don't think to ask about or pry out of him's probably critical, so get him back as soon as we safely can, I'd say, right?
Yeah, you definitely feel if you were to take off directly west now, instead of going, because basically Borskier Bridge is down here, right?
right.
So you'd be continuing all the way around the edge of the moor, whereas where you are now, you can kind of see the moor is ending for the most part. You don't see anything untoward there as the ground kind of shifts over from this dryish swamp to the rocky crags that you've been used to traveling on thus far.
So we would just kind of skirt the bottom edge of the high moor and make our way back over to Tradeway.
Yeah.
Okay.
You might run into something. You might have a slightly higher chance of running into something being on the edge of the moor. But
Let's do it.
Is this the moor that a certain dragon said he'd kill us if we came here again?
No.
No.
Where was that again?
That was the Mirror of Dead Men, up on the Sword Coast proper, way up to
it's
the
up there.
northwest.
Okay, great. Yeah, I say we skirt the moor then.
Okay. So you set off the next day, moving through, deciding to try to cut a little bit of time, knowing the tradeway is going to be almost due west from you based on your maps that of course, you proffered. So you set off there. I need Ignalia to give me a d20 roll.
All right, here comes the elder dragon pair.
Nah, fam. I got
God,
worms.
can it happen because I got an at 20?
So you make your way forward. You find that you kind of underestimated the distance, or overestimated the distance, rather, of how far, because about just after halfway through the day, you actually find yourself at the very large and somewhat teeming road of the Tradeway. Definitely heading off to the northwest up to where you're fairly certain is Dragon Spear.
We made
Yeah,
it.
let's continue on.
And there's lots of traffic. And then we realize all the merchants are trolls, right?
And everybody's running in the opposite direction.
We all stop rolling what we need.
And it's greenest again. We've activated New Game Plus.
Can you give me a D8, please?
Who?
D8, you.
All right.
Here it is. That's it, we're dead.
Oh
That's
my
the number
God.
of giants we gotta
Okay.
fight right there.
I'm so
wait.
good at this.
This isn't amongst the giants.
Okay. All right. So as you continue on, crossing another few miles or so, like I said, it was a little bit after midday when you found the tradeway, and you find your path, well paved or not paved, but well traveled before you. You're able to move a little bit quicker, moving several miles forward up towards Dragon Spear. However, as you find yourself moving forward, you see a somewhat odd sight laying before you. As you move forward, you see, various merchants and such wagon trains passing you here and there. The tradeway, obviously, still very much in business, even with the somewhat unsettling cult activity that you ran into previously. It seems like things are still going on, but you do see most of the wagon trains do have a good amount of guards around them, more than you're used to seeing with these. You see a couple wagon trains with 15 to 20 guards. You see one larger one that had a ornate wagon in it that had no less than 40 people wielding weapons surrounding it, walking and scouting out in various directions and such. It seems like security is very important right now for these merchants traveling along the tradeway. But as you continue forward, you see a somewhat odd sight compared to what you have seen thus far. You see 4 dwarves walking up, and in between them you see all 4 of these dwarves holding a chain, and they are surrounding a person. And as you kind of move forward, easily catching up to them with your wagon and such, and kind of keeping a fast trot, you see that they're holding unmistakably a cultist with stripes of purple down their back. Obviously holding this cultist hostage, as you see chains wrapped around wrapped around her body as she kind of just tugged along very unwillingly.
Can we have it? Because I wouldn't have that.
So you said we definitely recognize her?
You don't recognize the person, you don't know who she is, but you can definitely tell that she is a cultist, and based on descriptions and people you've run into up to this point, a wearer of purple, so probably a decently high-ranking one.
Do we see any signs of who it is that has her captured?
You just see these 4 dwarves. You see most of them carrying hammers, a couple of them carrying small short swords, but you also see on their packs like pickaxes and such, and mining equipment as well.
When we're approaching, I'll lean out and call over to them and say, Hail, which group do you belong with?
As you do so, moving up, the wagon slowing and such, as Ignalia moves off to the side, addressing these dwarves, they all stop and turn to look over at you, and you see these dwarves kind of eyeing you up and down, and one of them steps up, still holding onto the chain wrapped around this cultist, and say, we come from the mines off to the west. Who you be?
I say, my name is Ignalia, and we come, under orders from the Council of Waterdeep.
Council of Waterdeep. I've heard of no such thing. What is it?
Show him the papers, Ignalia.
Doesn't sound like the papers are going to mean anything to him, but I will do that.
Okay. As you do so, he kind of looking at you suspiciously. You walk up and show this writ with all these names and such, guaranteeing you power. And as his eyes start going through it, he looks down, and as he sees it, he kind of shakes his head. And then he gets to the bottom where all the signatures are, and his eyes begin to grow wider and wider as he reads it. And he looks up at you and looks back down at the writ, back up at you, back down at the writ.
You don't have to be so surprised.
He kind of shakily hands it back to you. He says, "Oh, I didn't realize we had such important people in front of us. Forgive me for my rudeness, ma'am. My name is Dundagar. I'm a part of this group here," and he kind of motions to the other 3. We are simple miners, nothing more.
Well, you don't seem so simple. Who is this prisoner that you have?
With that, you see him turn around, and kind of a smile, he kind of puffs out his chest. He's like, yes, our prisoner, this cultist here, as she calls herself, was terrorizing our group in the mines. And we got the better of her. It took some time. We had to kill a few of her drakes to get to her, but she went down without much of a fight afterward. And, well, we're simple folk, as I said before. We decided to take her up north to either Waterdeep or Baldur's Gate or something up to the north of us. Or, I don't think Baldur's Gate's to the north. To Waterdeep. And see if we can get a reward or at least some information on this. She seems important, right? And she was terrorizing us after all.
And you are right to do so. I would commend you for your actions. Have you gotten her name? Or if she's like super close, I'm just kind of looking to see if she'd respond.
As you say so, you see this woman, not super old. She's probably in her lower 30s or something like that. She turns around and kind of struggling. She's not able to turn real far because of the chains that are still kind of taut with the front 2 dwarves. The back right one being the one that's talking to you. You see her looking over, and she seems to eye you up and down. She's kind of scoffs over in your direction and turns around away from you. And the dwarf kind of looks back and shrugs his shoulders. She's not very talkative, unfortunately, but I figure, the people that you answer to, well, they may be able to loosen her tongue.
Well, it's definitely a good assumption. Anyone else have any thoughts?
I think that maybe the dwarf should accompany us, and we should help them with their prisoner. I assume y'all are taking the prisoner to Waterdeep.
With that, you see Dundergar kind of nodding his head. He says, aye, we are. Is that where you're headed?
Yes, we are. We could definitely help you out.
With that, you see him nodding. He says that you could. You see, we actually would rather not make this journey if not necessary. We're doing this out of necessity, if nothing else, but we belong in the mines. Being out here, and he kind of motions around to the, you see some smaller forests around you and such, in open air. He looks a little bit uncomfortable. He says, being out here is it's unnatural. We would much prefer to go back to our mines and continue our work. Maybe if you would be willing to give us even some semblance of a reward for bringing this, obviously defeated prisoner here to you, we could give her to you instead. And if you're going to Waterdeep already, then that solves the problem completely. Of course, we lost a few good men as we subdued her. We would like some compensation for our sacrifice.
Well, what do you think's fair compensation for protecting your own home, Master Dwarf?
There's the Texan.
With that, you see him tilting his head, and you can definitely see he's crunching numbers very quickly through his head, and almost get feeling of dollar signs popping up. He says, well, with no guard to be present on the Sword Coast, we had to fend for ourselves. So I feel that it would only be, an obligation of servants of the Sword Coast, such as yourselves, to proffer up compensation totaling 50 gold pieces, possibly.
Tara's gonna smile at that and ask, one day, I think I'd like to see your mines. I'd very much enjoy your home.
They're very glorious, the best.
As he mentions the 50 gold pieces, Stone Skull just, not even hesitating, is going to reach into his pouch and just grab 5 platinum.
Tara's gonna try and stop Stone Skull. No, Stone Skull, I'll take care of this one.
Okay.
I think we were all ready to be very generous.
Yeah, right? Yeah, that's fine.
You were going to do 5 platinum?
Yeah, I was going to do 5 platinum, which is the same thing. The 50 gold.
Yeah.
They might actually like platinum more.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me, Master Dwarf, what kind of metals do you mine in that home of yours?
Are you giving him money, was you saying so?
No, I'm continuing the conversation.
Okay.
I wasn't hiding the no to Stone Skull. I fully intend to pay him.
Okay. So as you're kind of standing back to the back, you see the dwarf kind of leaning around this large war horse that's standing before him. You see him kind of shifting his feet a little bit uncomfortably with this large beast in front of him. But he leans around and looks towards you. He says, well, we have a little bit of everything. We have very rich mines, gold, silver, a few platinum.
I'm going to nod and hold up my hand. That's what I thought. How much, I'm going to hold out my hammer. How much would a hunk of silver ore about the size of this hammerhead cost?
So he looks at it, not a huge hammerhead, but you see him tilting his head and looking at it, and you see him shake his head. He says, I don't know, but he turns around and you see Dundergar turning around, and he says, hey, Felix, you know that Smith weapons. How much would that cost? What she's asking? And you see this other dwarf moving up, just a step or so, still holding the chain taut and kind of giving a wary eye towards the woman cultist. And he kind of looks at the hammerhead and he says, it wouldn't be much. kind of thinks. You see him flipping fingers and such. One that size, the proper weight, decent quality. I would say 15 gold pieces worth.
And could I hit someone with it? Would it take a blow?
And you were just asking for like raw silver to
Yeah.
put it, the size.
Raw
Mhm.
silver ore, and
Okay.
roughly the shape of a hammerhead.
With that, he thinks and kind of nods. He says, you could. It wouldn't be very effective being in its raw form, but if you were to have a decent smith fashion it either around your very well made hammer there, or make another one, it would do the job. Yes.
I assume you have smiths that could do it?
With that, he nods. He says, I would have to be back in our mines. We do have a smithy and such set up, but not here in our present location. But, and he raises a finger, and you see him reaching back into this large bag behind him, surfing through. You see him pulling it out, and you see that this is definitely a bag of holding as he reaches inside of it, pulling out several large pieces of rock, a couple of them just solid gold. He sets down and just kind of haphazardly drops them on the ground, moving it out of the way, not quite large enough. And then you see him reaching down with both hands, and he pulls out this large chunk of silver. And he looks at the hammer. He's like, it's a little big, but it would probably do the job if you wanted to take it to a smithy on your way to Waterdeep. Or, of course, you're always welcome to come to our mines if you want.
Okay. Wonderful. I can't see the silver. I'm assuming you're holding a giant thing of silver, dwarf?
With that, everybody else is able to see that he's squinting. He's like, "Oh my! I am so sorry. Yes, this is a very large. It's slightly larger than what you need, but for my rudeness, the offer will of course stand at 15 gold pieces."
Wonderful. I'm going to do you one better. I'm going to pay you for the prisoner, and I'm going to pay you double for the ore. What I do need is everything that she did to you, so we can make sure that she pays for her crimes when we get to Waterdeep.
With that, you see Felix kind of nodding slowly and looking back towards Dundragar and tilting his head and shrugging a bit. And then Dundragar kind of goes on. He says, "Well, the lady showed up, with many other cultists and drakes and such, and demanded that their mining operations be turned over to the cults, and everything that they were doing to go towards the cult now. And when, of course,
Hunter.
being
How's
the
it
Proud
going?
Dwarfs, they were resisted, a few of them were killed on the spot, as an example. And for no less than 2 weeks, they were held under capture, essentially working for these cultists. And it wasn't until they were able to, whisper and pass notes with each other to raise a bit of a rebellion. They grouped together all at once in the dead of night, killing off the drakes, losing a couple more of their number, but were able to ultimately slay all of her friends there and took her prisoner, since she was obviously the leader.
Oh, I like that story. I very much want to see your mines now. I bet they're coated in a wonderful sheen.
He once again tells you, they are the best, I promise you. They are nothing short of the Mithril Mountains would outdo us.
I'm going to smile at that and nod. We'll stop by sometime. If you would, put the ore on our wagon, and we'll take care of the prisoner. Rogar, will you tie him up too?
Yeah, sure.
And I'm going to reach in my bag and pull out 80 gold pieces for the dwarf and give it to him.
Okay. So as Tara begins to move forward to do this, walking up to the dwarf, everybody give me perception checks.
They gonna try to scam us of our money. Gonna have to kill me some half-sized people.
Yeah, I've already come to terms with the fact that they're lying to us and they have to die.
I'm putting all of my focus towards the woman anyway.
Tara?
I'm not approaching him, by the way. I'm just pulling the money out of him. quite
Even
nervous.
sweet talked by his mind.
I'm on top of Mr. Pebbles.
Okay. All right. So y'all be next to each other.
Yeah.
All right. So as this is going on, Tara reaching into her bag, a series of events begins to unfold. Ignalia and Rogar, you're concentrating very much on the four dwarves before you, as well as the cultists, keeping a close eye on them, just making sure everything's on the up and up. It seems to be, but you never know. Stone Skull and Tara, however, you have just a brief moment to look as you hear a roar rising off directly to your east of the tree line, right next to the tradeway next to you. And you hear a booming roar saying, "Get them!" As 4 very grotesque and large creatures, followed by a half-dragon of the red coloration, come charging out of the trees towards you. I need everybody to roll for initiative, please.
Sorry, guys. I was
There it
just
is.
transacting over here. We're making deals.
Ignalia and Rogar, you will be surprised this round.
Oh,
Man,
poor
my
guys.
initiative's bad as it is.
And you don't get to go for
Sure. I see
What about
everything.
me?
Negative
You
one
were not. You were basically
perception
doing that
check.
with advantage because.
Okay.
Well, these poor ogres are just gonna hurt.
So, the dwarves are on our side, right?
I mean, they seem like they would be. However, they don't look too strong. And even as all this is happening, and these ogres come just rushing out of the woods here, followed by a somewhat beefy-looking half-dragon, you see them all backing away slowly, wide-eyed, and definitely in a mild amount of terror. That being said, Rogar, unfortunately, you were caught off guard by this, so you were surprised this round and unable to react. Stone Skull, however, is not. What would you like to do?
Yeah. We're just gonna go for it, immediately grabbing onto the reins and kind of yanking back, forcing the horse to kind of turn around. Gonna quickly make my way this way.
After
I can't
using
measure.
the quick release that you had built into the wagon.
Yes. Oh, it's
Uh-huh.
broken. Oh, I don't like that. It's broken.
What's broken? Oh,
I can't select both and then use the... Oh, there it goes. Okay, never mind. Crisis averted.
There we go. Sweet.
Yeah. So, riding in and, hitting the quick release, unsheathing Gleam Edge, and gonna make a strike at the one to the southeast first, and then bring it around to the one at the north.
All right.
And give me a second, chat, and I'll change the music too. So there's
13
one,
will hit,
and there's the other.
and 18 will hit.
All right. 14 and 14.
Okay, nice.
Mhm.
Anything else?
Nope, that's
All right.
gonna be it.
Okay, so Stone Skull just takes off, quickly reaching down and hitting this latch that he had made to quickly release his warhorse rather from the wagon. Takes off and kicks the horse into gear, and they both rush over as they're moving across. Gleam Edge coming out from behind your back, or is it?
Yeah, it would be from behind the back. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Bringing Gleam Edge out from behind his back over his head. As he moves up, he quickly strikes down to the southeast one, cutting across its upper chest, kind of starting at the neck, dragging it down, leaving a long bloody gash, and then doing much the same with the one to his north. Both of them solid hits on him. That being said, this one is going to move forward and it's going to attack one of y'all. It's going to go for Stone Skull.
Okay.
Bringing its great club around once. 13.
No.
All right. This guy above you is going to also attempt to hit one of y'all. It's going to go also for Stone Skull. 22.
Yep, heads.
All right. He connects with you for 13 bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
And the one to the southeast is also going to
Oh,
try to
also
attack.
marked. Southeast and north are both marked.
Okay.
And since I'm assuming he's going to attack the horse.
Yes, he is going to
Okay.
attack.
Okay. Then, yep, go ahead. It's going to be at disadvantage.
All right, so it'll be a 20.
Yep, it hits.
All right, so even with the barding, unfortunately, your horse is getting struck as it goes down for the bigger target, striking your horse for 11 bludgeoning damage.
Okay. Trying to edit it. I can't edit it. There we go. Okay. And on my turn, I'm probably going to use Unwavering Mark. So just wanted to keep that in mind for the future. I can't edit the token though for that, by the way.
Okay, all right, I'll work on a second. All right, so as these ogres all just start teaming up on Stone Skull Terra, you're up next.
Oh,
I
maybe I
think it's on
should
a
have
horse.
done that. I'm adding it now.
Okay.
Oh, did
It
you
was an
group
8.
those, Havoc?
Yeah, I did.
That's why. That's why I can't edit anything, because I can't even edit my token or click on my token.
Okay. All right, you're still on the list.
Yeah, why is that?
I don't know. I'll add you though. It's not a big deal. All right, there you go.
There we go. Okay.
So yeah, we'll just say you went past your.
Yeah, I'll just. Yeah.
All right, there we go. Okay, yeah, just keep track of it for right now. All right, Tara, what you doing?
Okay. So it's broken, I think.
I'm going to use my bonus action first to send
Yeah.
Mr. Pebbles up
Yeah,
here.
it's broken.
I have him make his attack. So 13 and a 9. Oh. Either of those hit?
Both of them hit.
Well, alright. Go, Mr. Pebbles.
Oh wait, sorry, not a 9. 9 doesn't hit.
Oh.
Sorry.
Oh, then only 5.
Okay.
That's unfortunate.
Okay.
And I'm actually going to move up here and
There we
cast haste on Ignalia.
Okay.
Thank you, Havoc.
Oop. All right.
That will
All
end my
right.
turn.
Alrighty, so Mr. Pebbles charges forward, bringing both his fists around. The first one able to do kind of a glancing blow off the blubber of this thing's stomach, doing a little bit of damage, but the second one, the ogre kind of brings its arm around, slapping the hand away before it can do damage to it. And then Terra runs forward, and this kind of very quick cloud of wind surrounds Ignalia, proving that she is going to be very quick here in a moment. This guy is going to start running in, though.
At the end of my turn, I'm going to scream to Ignalia, I'll protect the doors.
It's going to charge towards Ignalia and swing its great club at her.
I say that's good because I don't get a turn this turn.
All right, 25.
You should have been up next in the order. Yeah, 10.
Yeah, 25 will. Yeah, but I was surprised.
He was
Oh,
surprised.
I forgot.
Yeah, and yeah, that'll hit.
All right, so you'll take 9 bludgeoning damage as the great
Will
club
it?
slaps across your chest.
With the +2 bonus to AC from haste?
Yes, the 25 will still hit me.
I thought you were at like 23.
No, I'm 23 now.
All right, so this guy is going to. You see him pulling out his long sword. Or already had his long sword out, but now he's pulling out a short sword in his other hand. And he charges down towards this construct, moving towards Mr. Pebbles, and is going to try to hit him 3 times. So first longsword attack, 20,
Hit.
10,
No.
and then a short sword, 24.
Hit.
All right, so Mr. Pebbles will take 20 damage of slashing and piercing from the 2 attacks that land, chunking off pieces of his stony surface as these attacks land. Not seeming to do a whole lot of damage, but still damaging him nonetheless. All right, back to the top of turn order. Nobody's surprised now. Steve.
All right. Gonna rush towards the one that ran at Ignalia. Stab it.
Hit. 27. Okay. Anything else?
Disengage.
Okay. Alrighty, so Steve runs forward, slipping right by Tara as she's placing her hand on Ignalia, giving her a burst of speed. Seeing this break club coming down right on Ignalia, you take a quick pivot right around the side of him, bringing your rapier up right towards his armpit and stabbing deep inside of him, doing a massive amount of damage. He groans in pain, reaching up and grabbing where the wound is. Rip your rapier out of him and step away. Doing a big old chunk of damage. Stone Skull.
Okay, so using Unwavering Mark, I'm going to use my bonus action to make an attack on the one to the southeast.
Okay.
17 or 16 slashing.
Okay.
And then my primary action, 2 more additional attacks to the same one.
22 hits.
Yeah.
27 hits.
14 and 16. So
Use
30
save.
damage there.
With the second attack, you're able to bring him down.
Nice. And I think that's gonna be it for my turn.
Okay. All right. So Stone Skull, seeing this one clearly attacking his warhorse, turns around and jabs the end of Gleam Edge into its chest, doing damage, and then quickly reverses his grip on it, bringing it down with 2 heavy slashes. The second one coming down right across his neck, and you see him twisting the blade as he does so, just flaying the skin as it falls to the ground in a bloody mess, groaning in pain. This one is going to attempt to attack Stone Skull with the Great Club. 11's going to miss those. This one's going to do the same. 18 this time.
hits. Yep.
All right, you'll take 14 bludgeoning damage from that attack. And this guy's dead. Ignalia.
And the one to the north is no longer marked.
I should go after Zorn, shouldn't I?
Oh, yes, sorry. Thank you. Terry, you'll be back up first, sorry.
I am going to use my bonus action to put an Aegis on Stone Skull.
Okay.
Yeah. +4.
And I'm going to move to this side of Ignalia and take a swing with my ball. 17
Hits.
for 12.
All right. Anything else?
I will end my turn there.
All right, so quickly, kind of with the sweeping motion of her hand, sweeps, kind of motioning towards the earth, and then ending the arc of her hand up towards Stone Skull, and the earth parts as she does so, sweeping up towards him and then surrounding him in this aegis of rock swirling around him. She quickly steps beside Ignalia, bringing the warhammer, or the maul rather, around, sinking into this thing's side. It kind of cringes against the blow. This much larger creature definitely knocked back a step. It's starting to look very beat up. Ignalia.
All right. Yeah, I will. Just double checking here.
Oh, and these guys are moving away, dragging the prisoner with them.
Okay, excellent. That's what I was going to shout them to do, is don't drop the chains.
Yeah, they're moving at the bottom of the turn order, so they move considerably far away.
All right, I am going to activate my mantle.
Okay.
I am going to jump in between these 2 ogres, and then first action, flame blade at the one between me and Tara.
Okay.
Hit.
22.
Good stuff. 13.
Oh, I used the wrong macro. I'll just roll for it.
Okay.
So 12 additional.
Okay. That's gonna kill him.
Cute.
And then hasted second action, I will wheel around and do another into the guy on the opposite side.
Okay. That's a hit.
and add on 4 more fire damage for the mantle.
Okay.
And I'll have it jump to the one behind him. For 7.
All right. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Ignalia finally able to charge forward, fully assessing the situation now. Takes forward with this burst of speed. These kind of flame wings sprouting from her back as she does so, bringing around her longsword. It's streaking with fire as she does so. She quickly, with her first attack, just cuts through the chest, the blade just cutting like a knife through butter, straight through his chest, obviously cleaving through his heart in the process, and he just groans in pain as he grasps his chest and then falls backward next to Tara. You quickly bring the blade around for the second attack. Once again, the blade slicing through this guy like butter, doing a bunch of damage as the flames leap off of him towards the other guy, hitting him up in the side of the head, but they are both definitely still standing. This one's dead. This guy's not, though. Seeing stuff not going well, he is going to take off running over here. Get up right next to Rogar.
Hi.
Mr. Pebbles will have an attack of opportunity.
Does he get both of them? Or is it
No,
multi-attack? Just
No,
one.
just one.
18.
Hit.
For 14 bludgeoning damage.
Yeah.
Way to step up, Mr. Pebbles.
Skirts just past me.
Yep. Yeah. He didn't want to take multiple. He wanted to only take one. So, so Mr. Pebbles catching this guy right up beside the head. You see him ducking his head in pain as Mr. Pebbles' arm catches him across, but he moves up behind, and you all see a very recognizable gesture as he leans his head back, his mouth beginning to puff out, and he spits a gout of fire out towards 1, 2, 3. Yeah, out towards Tara and Rogar. I will need dex saves from both of you. Oof. That is
Your
unfortunate.
nat 1 save is a 9. I hate you.
Yeah, so unfortunately neither one of you are able to get out of the way, and you will take 25 points of damage minus your... No, it's only 1, 2, 3, not 1, 3. Shit ton. It's a smaller cone. No.
Oh, okay.
Quit trying to beef up the NPCs, Forge. I think Rogar will have resistance to this, but Tara will not, so 25 damage. 12 otherwise. Alright, and that is his turn. That is all he can do.
I need to make a save.
Oh, yes, you do. Con 12 DC. Yeah, you're able to nail it. Haste stays up. Alright, Rogar.
Alright. I'm gonna just.
Yeah, the dwarves are
perception check.
keeping the cultist away, just so that these guys don't attack them. It's a good plan as long as they don't try to
definitely able to
actually
learn
run
his
away
fighting
and I have
techniques,
to
he
run
will
them
have
down,
sneak attack.
because that would be truly unfortunate.
But unfortunately, a 17 will not penetrate his armor.
Alright.
AC acquired.
So, as you bring your rapier around, able to see him, you're able to cleanly move up under his defenses, but you just kind of glance off instead of hitting a penetrating strike against this plate armor, and your blade glances off of it instead of doing damage to him. Anything else?
Nope. That's it.
All right, Stone Skull.
All right, going to hack at the one to the north of me. 13.
Hit.
16 damage. Is it still standing?
Still standing, very bloody.
Okay. Gonna hack it a second time.
22 hit.
Okay. For another 14.
Oh yeah, that takes him down.
All right. What do I want to do? I think that's gonna be everything I do here. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. So Stone Skull Still chopping away from the top of his warhorse, it kind of dancing beneath his feet, trying to give him a better perspective to hit these things, and dances to the side, turning him broadside next to this ogre. 2 quick slices out of Green Edge is able to slice through the chest and then through the top of this thing's skull, just crushing beneath the weight of this great sword as it falls, just crumples to the ground unmoving. Only one guy left. He is going to swing at Stone Skull again. 12.
Does not hit.
That guy's dead. And Tara, you're back up.
Yeah, no, I'm quite upset with this guy.
Okay.
I'm gonna move up here and swing my maul at him. 14.
Not gonna hit, unfortunately.
All right, and Mr. Pebbles. 22,
Yeah.
13
13 doesn't though.
for another 11.
All right. Okay. Anything else?
That'll end my.
All right. So Tara charges down, bringing the maul around as she does so. Able to almost hit him, but he brings up a gauntleted fist and kind of blocks and struggles against it and then shoves it off. But you see that he stays distracted long enough before turning around to allow Mr. Pebbles to bring down a heavy fist right across his back. He grunts in pain, looking back, and quickly brings his short sword around to parry the second attack, knocking it away, not taking any damage. But he's starting to get a little damage done to him. Ignalia.
Alright, I choose to leave the 2 large, low-intelligent creatures swinging heavy things at each other.
There is a warhorse.
Listen, he's one complete package with the warhorse.
Okay.
So I will come down and just completely fuck over this half-dragon. So, yep, 2
That's what I
flame
was
blades.
for.
All right.
17, I'll miss.
That'll just miss.
Another one. Ugh.
Oof.
Ugh.
Oof.
Should have came up here and dealt with this guy.
No, I don't want to deprive you of your fun.
All right. So is Ignalia doing anything else?
Yeah, I'm gonna quicken spell, do it again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Full hit this time.
All right, level 4 smite.
Okay.
Smite him.
So 6 slashing, 11 fire, and 24 radiant. Oh wait, no, sorry.
Wait, I'm so
12.
confused.
No, I was reading the wrong damage. 12 slashing, 5 fire, and 24 radiant. Because of my mantle.
Okay. So yeah, as you bring your blade around twice, just unable to get purchased through this guy's armor, and he bats away your second attack with his long sword. Just start getting furious as you do so, and you bring down your flames in your mantle as well as running your sword, just flaring as you do so. He brings up his short sword in a desperate attempt to block his attack, but it's not even close as your long sword cuts through his short sword, going through it, cutting it, knife through butter once again, sinking into his skin. You see the armor barely able to resist this attack, and then it just sinks through, cutting straight through his chest, dropping down in a quick arc down towards the ground, and you see he follows very quickly afterwards to the ground.
Did I just Darth Maul this guy?
A little bit.
Oh yeah.
So much for that third prisoner.
Yeah, there you go.
Well
All
done,
right.
Ignalia.
Well,
If he had information, he'd have a name.
actually, Steve. Of course, you kill the guys that I have names written for, not the ones that I have to make up on the spot.
What? Not as nice. I have go up here and to help Stone Skull, even though he doesn't need it.
Okay. Hit. 20. Okay. Anything else?
Disengage.
All right. So Steve rushing around the warhorse as it dances to the side, trying to offer Stone Skull another easy opportunity to attack it. You stab up into the side of its belly as it's kind of lunging backwards towards Stone Skull, able to do a good chunk of damage. This thing's definitely starting to look a little bloody. Stone Skull.
Gonna just move kind of around the corner, making sure that he still faces me instead of facing towards Rogar, and then swipe.
Both hit.
Alright, 17 and 13, so 30 damage.
Okay. All right. So as you bring, do anything else?
No, that's it.
All right. So as you did, move your horse, one-handed on the reins, kind of briefly directing it where to go. It dances around the side of it. This ogre's eyes following you as it raises its great club up. You quickly, with just superhuman speed, bring the edge down twice, slashing almost an X across the top of his chest. Yeah, it won't matter.
Yeah, I know.
Bringing it down, and you see that he is extremely bloody. He's breathing heavily, kind of holding his chest with one arm that isn't holding the great club, and he's going to vainly, more than likely, attempt to attack you.
Okay.
He's going to crit fail.
That's super bad.
Let's see what happens.
That poor ogre.
Don't you take this chance away from me.
His day just went from bad to worse.
All right. Well, you know what? Let's just do the normal one. Okay, that's not going to be a high one where he damages himself. So the ogre slips forward. You see he's actually slipping on his own blood as it's just pouring out of all these wounds in his chest, kind of screaming and snarling at you. He swipes out, clanking off the edge of your warhorse off its barded armor, just unable to gain purchase on you. And Terra.
Mr. Pebbles is going to have to go over there.
Oh,
A 23
yeah.
23 hits.
for 8. I think he has advantage. Isn't he prone? Did he fall?
No, he did fall. He
Okay.
slipped a little bit. But go ahead and give me flavor on how Mr. Pebbles finishes off the last
Mr.
ogre.
Pebbles did it, chat. He did it.
Tara's gonna raise her hand and point, and Mr. Pebbles is gonna turn and just slowly walk over there. And then he's just going to raise his right hand all the way back and come around with a haymaker to its head, because he should be tall enough to hit an ogre in the face.
Yeah, and especially with this ogre leaning over, just severely wounded and winded from this fight, the head is an easy reach, and it slowly turns its head at the last second as this big old haymaker comes around from Mr. Pebbles and slams against his jaw. You all clearly hear the audible sound of bones breaking as fist just encompasses the side of its head, breaking its jaw, its side of its skull, its eye sockets, and everything, just leaving a large imprint of a stony fist in the side of its head as it slowly lumbers off to the opposite direction and falls to the ground, unmoving.
Yeah.
And you're out of combat.
Master Doris, you can come back now.
I pass out on the ground.
Yeah, Nalia's haste goes out and she falls down like, shit! The kickback's strong on this one.
Well, my mantle doesn't go out for most of a minute, so I kind of just set the ground on fire as I collapse.
Smolder there. With the billowing smoke off your armor as well.
It looks pretty great, actually.
Yeah, fire and extra smoke coming up. It smells funny because the grass is getting burned. And yeah. As the battle concludes, you see these dwarfs returning back over, leading their prisoner over. You see kind of glimpses of in the heat of battle, you looked back to make sure the dwarves are fine. You seemed a bit of a ray of hope crossing this cultist's face, but ultimately she was not rescued as she had hoped she would be. They walk back over, and Dundradar kind of looks at you and says, well, I definitely see why the leaders of the Sword Coast chose you. That was brilliant, a brilliant display of aggression.
As Rogar, or whatever the dwarf name was, walks up, I'm going to be rummaging in my bag, and I'm just going to pull out a potion of healing and hold my hand up to kind of tell him to pause, and I'm going to drink it. I'm going to toss that one over my shoulder.
I'm going to stop her before she drinks anymore and just lay on hands her for 15 points.
Stone Skull. A ruling I just thought of that I think would be beneficial to you and also keep your new NPC friend alive. If your horse always has a danger of being attacked in melee.
And that won't be as big of a deal next level for me, but because next level I can protect it.
Oh, okay.
And I can
never mind.
force the NPC to attack me instead.
Okay, never mind then.
So yeah, it won't be that big of a deal. Right now, I understand the danger of it, but yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So you just saw what I was doing.
Mm-hmm. I
Rolling
knew what
for
you were
it,
gonna
dice
do.
will
Yeah.
decide. Okay. All right. So yeah, Tara's able to get healed up. After the battle subsides and everything, you see the dwarves kind of wanting to get out of there sooner rather than later, with an obvious attack coming in that would have been destined for them had you not shown up when you did, to help protect their lives, as they are definitely not warriors. They offer once again. They actually say, "You know what? For what you did, we'll take the reward down to 40 if that's still acceptable to you."
No, I insist. Take the 80 gold. I'm going to give him the full 80.
All right. With that,
And please, put the ore on the wagon. Rogar, will you tie up this cultist?
Yes.
Do
Okay.
you have enough rope? You got more rope?
Yes.
yeah, I mean, you only use like 20 feet or so of your rope.
I've got
so
some
it's
if you need some.
I'm going to go check on Varram.
Okay.
And also just yell to Rogar, blindfold that one before you bring her over.
Okay. All right. So as this goes down, Tara walking over and proffering money, you see Felix, the one that had the bag of holding full of just assortment of rocks that had been mined. Why he's actually carrying those around, you don't really know, but hey, it was lucky he was. You see him taking this very large chunk of silver, and it looks just pure silver through it. It's kind of fragged and pointed at all the ends and such, but he carefully, with gloved hands, takes it over and puts it into the wagon. You see him eyeing another dwarf in there, but sets it in there, closes the blinds, and doesn't ask questions. Starting to move back over to the group. Rogar moves over and seeing the chains around her, is able to quickly or very easily loosen them a bit and grab her arms, kind of looking at her, making sure she's not going to do anything, but she holds fast and doesn't seem to act out and such. She, much like Varram, is a bit resigned to her fate at this point, seeing all of these very powerful adventurers around her. You're able to quickly bind her hands, as well as gag her or blind her with another piece of cloth that you pull out of your bag. Doing so, and you were able to put her in the wagon, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Also gonna check this guy. Wherever he had on.
Okay.
Also,
So as you take this cultist back to the wagon, you help her up into it since she's can't see. Putting her in there and kind of setting her aside from
man, I should have done
Varram.
that this
Varram
level.
still being
That's
present in
fine.
the wagon. Hasn't even made an attempt to move. You see him looking at you kind of expectantly, and he gets a brief glimpse of what's outside, and he just shakes his head. Kind of get the feeling that he knew what was going to happen if something like this came across, that you were all very strong, and any small attack like this wasn't going to work. Rogar, as you're moving your way back out, you find this half dragon here laying in not much blood, since most of it was just cauterized instantly by Ignalia's attack, but his body just beaten and broken. You do find a very singed pouch on his waist, and as you open it up, you see most of the pouch is kind of burned away, but inside of it you do see some scorched gold, 27 pieces to be exact.
That'll do.
And with that, finishing up and everything like that, you kind of imagine y'all move the bodies of the ogres off to the side, throw the half dragon as well, letting the animals take care of the rest. You bid farewell to the dwarves that you met on your adventures, and they start heading off back down to the south, obviously heading back to their mines. All of them very grateful for taking this cultist off their hands.
Where did they say the mines were, by the way?
They said they were off to the west.
To the west.
so
They didn't give us a location though.
didn't tell you exactly.
Mhm.
You
Oh,
kinda
no,
know
wait. I
that-
thought he did when he said come visit.
He kind of told you a general direction. He pointed off to the west, but it was more southwest. You kind of assume that the Trollclaw Mountains is where their mines may be, though exactly where you're not sure.
Okay.
You know the coastway does pass through there, so you imagine it'd probably be pretty close there somewhere if you ever did want to visit there.
Yeah, if Tara ever takes sabbatical.
Okay. Alrighty, so with that, you're able to set back off, heading back onto the tradeway to the north. Only having a few more hours of daylight. Are y'all gonna, traveling? You're gonna get about there or so. There's still at least a half a day before you reach Dragon Spear. Maybe slightly longer. You're not too sure from your current location after that battle, but
We'll travel daylight hours, so we'll set up
Yeah.
camp even. So continue the final couple hours.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I wanted to do was tell everyone discreetly not to use Varram's name out loud. And I wanted to use message to ask Varram if he knew who the girl was.
Sure, he knows who she is.
Yes,
right?
they did. They die
makes
very
sense.
quickly around us. Just the way I like
As
them.
you ask Varram this, he responds, kind of hesitantly, but he says, "Yes, she's aware of Purple One that runs a smaller sect. Only 50 or 60 cultists. She's sent out on raiding parties to help secure more for the Horde." To be presented to Tiamat on her arrival. Her name is Sheila Flegsteel.
And say, well, that's good. Is she anyone of note? Or simply just her enthusiasm that got her rank?
With that, he says she's somewhat powerful, but not anything compared to a dragon soul or even a remember the ranks here, or even a dragon wing for that matter. But she is a leader in her own right, though not a very big one. She honestly will not be able to provide too much information. I know far more than her.
Okay. And so as we finish that up, in particular, I will, look over to her and say, "So Sheila, what were you after? Anything in particular on your raid?"
With that, you see her, very, very much blindfolded, looking over in the direction of your voice, and you see her head tilting to the side, and she says, "How do you know my name?"
It doesn't matter. I don't have to answer to you, but you do need to answer to us.
With that, she her lips tighten a bit, and she clearly is scowling from back behind her blindfold. She says, "I was simply trying to get more gold and silver for the Horde, even if it was in its barest and rawest form."
Insight check.
Okay. You're not able to tell a whole lot with her being blindfolded and such. You know that a lot of tells and such are led through the eyes. So you feel like you're a bit at a disadvantage right now against her. She seems to be truthful, but it's kind of hard to tell.
It sounds like your force went up a little bit more than they anticipated.
With that, she shakes her head, and I let my guard down. That is all.
Well, it may be the last time you do that, Sheila.
Sheila.
No, I heard Sheila.
Definitely Sheila. Tara is not really paying attention to her name.
Okay. Yeah, she doesn't respond to that.
And then I'll just message to Varram one more time and say, I don't know. I'm treating him fairly well because he's been so open. I'll say, is there anything else I should be asking of her? Or is she really just not of note?
With that, you see Varram kind of visibly shrugging, and he just shakes his head over towards you. You hear him respond briefly. "I don't know of any information she may be able to provide. She wasn't one of my subordinates, but most of the lower ranks, the leaders, the wearers of purple, are sent on reconnaissance, and infiltration as well as raiding missions. Something that most any idiots could do, as she obviously is.
So Sheila, who is it that you report to? Who's your worm speaker? And then I'll say, I'll list off, the 4 names, and I'll end it with, we know it's not Resmir.
With that, you see her kind of turning towards you, and still that bit of a scrunched face that you can see from behind the blindfold. She says, I don't talk directly with the worm speakers, but the one who usually issued our orders was... who would it be? We usually got our information from Galvin.
Alright, yeah, that's one of the names we got earlier, right?
Yeah,
there's 5 of them, right?
And it's Galvin the Blue?
Yes.
Yeah, the Galvin was the blue. Well, was there 5 of them?
Yeah, there was red, white,
Were.
blue,
Yes.
black, and red, white, blue, black,
And green was
green.
narrow vein.
Yeah, Nero Vein the green.
Oh,
Oh
I
man,
didn't-
it's like one of the Power Ranger configurations.
And the dwarf was, what's his name?
Varram. The
And he was the white. And Saravan was the red.
Yes.
And Gandalf the Grey.
Yes. No, they call me Gandalf the White. Gandalf
As
is the white.
Kind of chop off his head.
as they're taking care of important stuff, Stone Skull's going to take some time and kind of speak to his horse
Okay.
and basically just ask. He's wanting to find things to make the horse happy, so types of food that it would prefer to eat, things like that, trying to like generate like almost like a shopping list for when they get to town next.
Okay. So as you have this attunement with beasts, you find yourself, speaking normally, just like you would speak to anybody else, to this horse. The horse obviously does not respond in kind, but you definitely get feelings from this animal. As you ask it what foods it likes, you kind of get the feeling of a red and a spherical object that you're pretty able to say is an apple.
Apple, right.
It gets
Tomato.
excited at the
Tomato.
It gets
It's a tomato.
excited. It shakes.
We're telling his neck.
It's like, not a tomato. You give me that, I'm gonna keep. But it likes apples.
Apples and grains. Yeah, that's all. I just wanted to do that just to, pass time and to try to connect with the animal that is hopefully going to stick around for a while and I don't get killed off immediately.
Hey girl, please don't leave. They always leave me.
They always leave.
Was it close? How much health does that thing?
19 health.
Oh, it was close.
He had 8 health left.
Oh damn.
I stopped attacking it. I don't want to kill the horse he just got. That's fucked up.
We'll spy
GG
another.
Havoc.
Hey new companion, put on this armor. No, you don't worry, you won't need it.
You won't need it. It'll
You
be
gonna
fine.
die.
22. Shit. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So you're able to get its favorite food is definitely apples.
Okay.
Tara asks if he's talking to his horse. Ignalia is open mouth watching him conduct magic.
Mm-hmm.
Shit's crazy.
He's been fooling us this whole time.
Is he using the orb? What's he doing?
He's speaking with his horse.
Oh, I just asked you that.
And you're not entirely sure. You're like, it could be magic. He could just be a freaking horse whisperer, as far as you know.
Well, I mean, he did it as a ritual, right?
Yeah, it took 10
Raising
minutes.
boom!
You-
Inappropriate.
I can imagine him concentrating on a ritual. Stone Skull sitting
Yeah.
scratching
Again.
his head, very concentrated. You see sweat beading down his forehead as he does so, and kind of moving his hands in what he thinks is arcane gestures, but aren't actually anything. He's just wiggling his fingers oddly.
Again, I get that vision of him sticking his tongue out as he's thinking, trying to do this properly.
It's very comical, really.
Yes. W Severin, thank you very much for the follow.
So yeah, you're able to
Very much
speak with
appreciate it.
animals after much
Thank you for being here.
deliberation. You have a mild headache now.
2 minutes of conversation, an hour and a half of headache.
Yeah, it's worth the pain, right?
I need to know, what's the intelligence of a draft horse?
2. Lower than mine, surprisingly.
Yes,
It's actually that low.
It's
Okay.
lower than mine, yep.
barely
What's the intelligence of a dog?
1.
Really? Horses are smarter?
No way.
I have no idea what the intelligence of a dog is. Come on.
Okay, can I use a blink dog?
It's like death dogs have 3, blink dogs have 10. So no,
Mhm.
that'd be a real smart dog.
It's better at math than I am.
Yeah, right. Stone Skull will be wowed by the intelligence of this dog.
Oh my god.
All right. So as you settle down for the night and such, questioning Varram as well as Sheila briefly, you don't glean a whole lot of new information. Sheila knows far less. You know that you're able to discern that the cult very much is a need-to-know organization. If you don't need to know, you don't. She admits
I don't
she's
know.
never
We
even
still
met
got a
one of the
while.
speakers. She's
Well,
heard of
look
them.
at that. Look at that
the
distance
Varram White,
between
mighty dwarf,
Dragon Spear
excellent in
and
melee
Waterdeep.
combat.
We're like
Uh,
2
Severin the Red,
sessions
the leader of
away.
The cult,
So
being a
I'm gonna like
wizard of
need
great
weekly
power.
reminders here
Speaks
until
of,
we get there, I think.
Nero
Or
being
if we
another,
stop in Dragon Spear, maybe I can do
elf,
it there. I
who
don't
is
know.
Very powerful
We'll
in his own
see.
right, both in melee and magic.
Maybe I can just buy one. Got enough
Galvin the
gold.
Blue. Being an excellent fighter, both at ranged and melee combat, and who have I not talked about? Severin, being a very intelligent but a very conniving worm speaker. She obviously seems to not have the knowledge that Severin's been, or not Severin, but
Hey.
Resmir.
Thanks for the
has
sub
been
over
slain.
on our YouTube channel as well, Severin.
Wait, so
Very
during
much
that she
appreciate
talked about Varram, right?
Yes.
I just watch his reaction.
I
You see
think
him,
it's
with a bit of a smirk
only
on his face as
100
she kind of,
silver,
talks about his melee
and then the
prowess
cost
and
of the weapon.
a
So it's
little bit of
not going to be
pride,
too
but
much.
He kind of sees you
Should be
glancing at
pretty
him and sinks his
inexpensive.
head back down, looking back down at the ground.
I'm just messaging going, if only she knew.
Grimace, just more freaking embarrassment.
I'm kind of a bitch.
He knows.
I think he's getting the idea.
All right.
I don't
Anything
think you
else
like
would
either
to do?
one of the women in this party.
Anything else you'd like to do during the night?
Do quick math. Do quick math. What's that?
Anything else y'all would like to do during the night?
No,
No.
not that I can think of.
All right.
Nope, I just double check their bindings and make sure they can't do any nonsense.
I'll do my normal resummon of Mr. Pebbles. As I do every night.
Okay. Yeah, you're able to carry out, so carrying out watches and such. You do have the somewhat, shelter of the van and such, or the wagon rather, to rest in for a few of you if you want to sit in there with the prisoners. But yeah, you're able to set up watches and all that fun stuff, and continue the night and get well rested for the journey to continue the next day. As you set off, you're at least a half a day, if not further, away from Dragon Spear, this fortress that you've passed a few times
Mhm.
now. Who hasn't rolled yet? Zorn, I need you to roll me a d20, please. Okay. So you continue on throughout the day. and we'll say you keep on your fast trot, switching off as you get tired to hop up on the wagon or inside it with the prisoners, and you find yourself just past midday. The sun has started moving in the opposite direction, but you find yourself on the edge of the high moor once again, but as the tradeway kind of sweeps to the west ever so slightly, you see this long abandoned fortress sitting next to it that is Dragon Spear.
No, we're not going in. Havoc, stop tempting us.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
I don't know. Are you sure?
We have prisoners. I mean, we can
Yeah.
use them as cannon fodder, but they have information.
I mean, we're acquiring them by like the day right now. Maybe there's more in there.
Maybe there's an actual dragon slaying spear in there.
That would be too convenient. Let's do it.
All right, so you continue on past, still having a good amount of daylight left. You continue past this very large fortress and such. You know it to be haunted by the undead and very crazy, though it might be a little fun. But you decide to keep to business and keep heading back towards Waterdeep.
That's not.
You're able to travel
please.
somewhat far at your quickened pace, but you do find that the day goes by without incident as you make your way past Dragon Spear along the tradeway, continuing to the north. You still have at least 4 or 5 days ahead of you to get to not only Daggerford, but proceed past, go to Waterdeep.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you want to do?
Okay.
No, I don't have anything.
Nope, not at the moment. Not until we get to Waterdeep.
Okay.
Yep, just keep a close eye on the prisoners.
Mhm.
Yep, and they're very well binded. You see Sheila, you do have one incident where Sheila does try to slip out, but she actually slips on some linens that are actually in the back of the wagon as Varram's trying to avoid her a bit. You see her slipping, and she actually bonks her head and knocks herself out in the process of trying to escape while the wagon's bouncing across this road. She seems much less cooperative, but she kind of learns a lesson along with a very large knot on her head.
When that happens, I just look over at Varram and say, "She's one of yours."
That you see Varram have a pleading look in his eyes. He looks down at this idiot and looks back at you, and he just shakes his head. No, no, she's not.
And this is the best you had?
I don't know. Those robes look really familiar.
With that, you're able to sleep through the night without incident, continuing on your way. Last but not least, Rogar, give me a d20.
I just want to go ahead and apologize beforehand.
Okay. So as you progress the next day, getting up early as the dawn's just barely breaking over the trees around you, as you now find yourself moving past the Trollbark Forest to your west, and it starts to rise up to your east. You continue forward, making a good pace. You start to get to early evening, twilight kind of starting to set in. The sky is just now changing color. And you find, once again, Tradeway still seems somewhat busy. You see caravans still with these large guard retinues surrounding them. They all kind of move past you with a wary eye towards this group of well-armored individuals and such on this, not shanty wagon, but it's not the best thing in the world. You continue on forward. As early evening begins to set, however, you find yourself moving forward, and you see something in the distance. And as you move closer, everybody but Tara, give me perception checks.
Agent Dragon.
Perception?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Hey, don't worry, I'll take care of it again.
Is that
Sorry,
like
my dogs were
third
going
nat
crazy.
1
What am I
perception
doing?
in a row?
It's pretty close. It's pretty bad.
Holy crap.
Up ahead, along the road, just on the edge of it, the Ignalia and Rogar, y'all don't see this all, but Stone Skull, from your somewhat elevated position, several feet up in the air, off to the side of the road, kind of over in the brush, you see something, and as you get closer, you see kind of pale skin and long brown hair of what appears to be a woman dressed in these forest greens. She seems to be laying over to the side of the road, not moving.
Okay. So yeah, as we begin to approach, give a kind of a short whistle back to the others in the party here, and kind of nod in the direction of the woman.
Y'all fix your health. We long rested when we camped.
Okay. All set.
Heal your horse, for Christ's sakes, man.
It's healed. Yeah, so I'll give that kind of whistle back to the party in a quick motion that I see something up ahead.
Well, it's a woman on the ground. Help her out, man.
Sounds like a trap.
Jesus Christ.
Totally a trap.
It definitely sounds like a trap.
It's a woman who's crouched over on the ground wearing green, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
she has like a tunic of green. You see a brownish cloak wrapped around her. She's laying there, almost motionless.
Alright. I'll use a message as I'm slowly walking over. Are you conscious? Are you alright?
As you move forward, getting a bit closer to her, you see now as the road kind of crests up, you get a little elevation. You're able to see her a little bit more clearly, and even though her cloak is covering some of her body, you see the red of obvious blood. Some of it dried, some of it seeming to be a little bit fresh.
Mystery.
Across her arms, her face, and her chest that you can see through her tunic and such. As you reach out with your psychic influence to speak to her, even her mind's voice seems to be somewhat weak and tired, and she responds, water, food, anything, help me.
I'll just turn back to everyone else and say, keep an eye out, and step forward to, kind of move her onto her back so I can examine her injuries.
As you do so, you see an elf laying before you. Her skin very fair, her face as well. Her ears kind of pointed up and somewhat long, at least 3 feet or so. Her hair will probably go down to her waist, resting down there. But you see as you get closer to her and move her over, her hair is matted in blood. You see obvious cuts and scrapes all across her body, some of which obviously weapon attacks. She's sustained these. With that, she barely is able to open her eyes as she looks up to you, and you hear her barely able to whisper, water.
Yes. Just give me a second, and I'll call over to them to bring over a canteen, and while they're doing that, I'm going to lay on hands her, immediate injuries.
Okay. If you want to try to get her up closer to full, it'll be 10.
10? Yep, I can do that.
Okay.
And I'll bring over some water.
Okay. So as this happens, Ignalia motioning for someone to bring water, Tara able to grab her canteen and her water skin and bring it over. Ignalia, as you lay your hands upon her, you see that feeling her injuries through your radiant connection with her, she sustained a lot. There's a lot of fatigue within her body, as well as various injuries. Not all of them, none of them seeming like they're immediately life-threatening. Besides her thirst and hunger, seems like she hasn't eaten or drank anything in days. But most of the injuries upon her being from something you would sustain, like running through woods haphazardly or something along those lines. And yeah, as you heal up most of her energy, or her injuries rather, you see her eyes kind of cracking open a little bit wider, and she looks up at you, and seeing your form with the bright red hair and such, she kind of squints her eyes and tilts her head a bit. So, never seen you before, but thank you. I was afraid I was on death's door there. With that, she reaches up and kind of looking at Tara, studying her face for a moment, and with that, she, instead of immediately grabbing the water skin, she kind of taps her hand on top of Tara's wrist to let her know she's there, and then slides down and grabs the water skin, pulling it away slowly, and then taking big gulps of it.
Tara's gonna smile at that because
Cut off again.
Guess what?
I said Tara's gonna smile at that because no one ever thinks like that. She took into consideration that I was blind. I appreciate that.
Very perceptive elf.
As she finishes drinking, kind of letting out a gasp as she does so, taking a few heavy breaths, she sits up and looks over towards you, kind of seeing the group now for the first time in its entirety. She looks around at everybody and kind of looks back over towards you, Ignalia, and says, what is the name of my savior here?
We are but a, group of heroes working underneath the Waterdeep Council. Are you all set? It looked like you, ran out of, what'd you say? Ran harshly through, the woods nearby?
Yeah, it's kind of the, lots of scrapes from, thorns and things of that nature.
So, yeah, you appear to be in quite a rush. Is everything okay?
As you mentioned heroes out of Waterdeep, she tilts her head again. She says, heroes, are you? You came from Waterdeep. If you don't mind me asking, what is your purpose? Who do you serve?
We serve the collective interests of the Council of Waterdeep.
With that, she tilts her head and her eyes widen just ever so slightly. Says, the Council. You... She looks again and she seems to take a double take and says, I don't see everyone that was mentioned, but you wouldn't happen to be the ones that were aboard Skyreach Castle.
I'm going to stand up and grab the hilt of my sword. Yes, we might be. Did you?
As you do that, she immediately raises her hands up. No. I apologize. I am a friend. And with that, she reaches down one hand. She says, I'm going to retrieve something from my pouch. And with that, she reaches down into a small sack at her waist. You going to do anything?
Nope, just watching.
Okay. With that, she pulls out a slip of parchment, and she holds it up. She says, I think you have something very similar to this, and she holds it out for you.
I will take it and, read it.
As you read over this parchment, you see that she is much like you. You see her name written clearly across it. Everybody give me history checks.
Do you want me to give you one even though I'm way over here? I'm
We'll
just
say
kind
that
of keeping
the
my
names-
eye on the road.
Yeah, the name's said out loud, so everybody can give me history
Okay.
checks. Everybody. As Ignalia reads over this, she starts reading it out loud, and the text is very similar to the writs that you got from the council. This one a bit more limited in its power, as you see that it only has one signature upon it, but does mention the Emerald Enclave and one Dellen Winterhound, who you know to
I
be
know
the leader
that group
of
right
this,
there.
and also a member of the council. You see that her name is written at the top of it, giving her special privileges and such to lead her investigation for the council, and her name being Selenestrial. You all know this name. You've heard it much like Gotta remember all the names of people and stuff. You all recognize this much like you recognize Sir Isteval's name. And you know that Selenestrial is a very well-known hero of the Sword Coast. She is a ranger that does a lot of seeking out and communing with the nature to gather information and such. But her name is not unknown to you at all.
Well, it appears you are our friend indeed, and I'll hand her back her writ. You said you were searching for us. What is the rush?
With that, she shakes her head as she starts to stand up, taking the writ and putting it back in her bag. You see her kind of dusting herself off a bit from, looking down and kind of scowling at all the dry blood. She says, I wasn't looking for you per se, but thank the gods that you found me. No, I was captured by the cults. You see, I don't know if you know all the machinations of the council itself, but we've gotten some information recently of a lot of activity down by the Well of Dragons. And I was employed to help scout it out and maybe even infiltrate this place. We weren't prepared for what we saw.
Wait, what did
you would be
see?
correct. We actually have a worm speaker and another of their kind in our possession. The information we've gained from them has aligned with that. The well is, more than anything, it's their home base, and I would believe the location of their ritual.
With that, you see her kind of nodding slowly. She says, yes, you are well informed. We didn't know this beforehand, but we ventured out there, 20 of us, 20 strong heroes, people, names known all across the Sword Coast. I'm the only one who came back. As far as I know, we were all captured, tortured, trying to get information out of us. I don't know what the cult learned, but I was able to slip out when one of the guards, fortunate for me, unfortunately for him, drank too much and passed out, and I was able to slip out of the mountain that we were kept in. I don't know how. She kind of presses one of her hands up to her temple. I don't know how I was able to get past everything, the dragons, the armies, the fiends that were even there. But I was able to get away, but not for long. I've been pursued since then, and she kind of motions off. You're somewhat far away from the Well of Dragons. I've been pursued for over a week by various creatures. I have seen a little bit of everything, unfortunately, but I was just at the end of my rope here, and I tried to sleep, and unfortunately my wounds got the better of me. I feared for my life.
That's quite a tale, and I'm glad that at least one made it away. You should join with us and return to the council. You should report on all that you've seen.
As you say that, everybody give me perception checks.
More perception.
With that, you see Celestial nodding. She says, that would be definitely in my best interest if it won't bother you.
We're gonna get in another fight.
And she kind of motions towards the group. If you have a worm speaker with you, then it's paramount that we return him or her back to the council so that they can glean all this information that hopefully you were able to discover already. As she's trailing off, and you see her kind of looking back towards the wagon and beginning to walk that way. Everybody but Tara is able to see the, early evening, but still enough sunlight left. You see shadow, a very large shadow passing across the ground in front of you. And as you look down, and it kind of, interesting looking at the shadow, you find your eyes immediately looking up, and you see a very large blue beast with huge wings towering above you.
It's a blue dragon.
It circles, sweeping over your head and then circling around to land right in front of you. As you see this large beast, you see the form of a blue dragon standing before you. And as it lands, its head rearing up and looking towards you somewhat contemptuously, it lowers its head a bit, and you see what appears to be a red half-dragon sitting upon its back, and he quickly jumps off of it, looking down at all of you, and you see his eyes turning down towards Celestial, and with a grin he says, "Found you." And that is where we're going to end the session for the evening.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you said it. Ow.
Yeah.
It's happening.
It's happening. Chat, it's happening.
So it's
We
Blue
said it
Dragon
was
ridden
happening.
by a red half dragon?
Mm-hmm.
Now, Havoc,
This guy.
Havoc, just be frank with me right now, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Did you add this in? Is this homebrew?
Maybe.
Is it exactly what I think it is?
Maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right.
Is this something we need Max for?
You're gonna miss him.
Oh, darn. Good thing I have this warhorse with 19 HP.
I don't want to kill him, but it might happen. I'm sorry, Forge.
Definitely gonna happen.
Listen, one
And
stray
then-
cone of fire is gonna wipe that horse out.
So then, from here, I'm going to just, if the horse dies, I'm just gonna put the arms of the wagon on my shoulders and just carry it. Apparently.
Hey, the only plus side is I did have my rapier in my hand, so you can't be surprised.
True.
I
True.
do just want to point out that you say that, but you literally could. You have the ability to carry large creatures.
All right. Be right back, guys. Okay. So that's a way to end the session, I guess. Yeah. Let me look and see who is out there and see who we can go and say hi to. I actually kind of want to go over to Dumpstat Charisma. They're playing tonight. It's a homebrew campaign for them. Why don't we do that? So we're going to go over and say hi to them. Thank you for being here. Next game is tomorrow. I will be DM for Amongst the Giants. Hope you show up for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. 7:30 Eastern. Hope to see you then. Have a good night, guys.